Hey everyone, and welcome for a very exciting stream today. My name is Alex, I'm your community manager here at SCS Software, and joined live from the studios in Prague, we have first of all Peter, our other community manager. Peter, it's great to have you back. How are you feeling?
Hi Alex, it's great to be here for this special stream.
It is a very special day indeed, and we're not alone. We have a special guest with us as well, Anton, senior researcher at SCS Software. Anton, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here. I'm doing fine. Hi, Chad. Hi, Alex. Hi, Peter. Hope you are doing
It's
well as well.
very excited for today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you along. Thank you for taking the time out to be here on such a special day. Of course, it is the release of the Nebraska DLC for American Truck Simulator, which we're so excited to release today at 7 p.m. CEST, that's European time. Make sure to add it to your Steam wishlist if you haven't already. And of course, chat. It is so wonderful to have so many of you joining us from around the world, live on Twitch and on YouTube as well, of course, at our official channels there. Going to see lots of you. We've got lots of names, lots of people, and I know you're all very excited for today. If you've never joined us before for a release stream, for the next few hours until the release of the DLC, we're going to have special guests joining us. We've got 3 special guests with us today. We're going to be talking kind of a little bit behind the scenes and in depth about the development of the Nebraska DLC, where it all began, how it all started in terms of research and actually the map design and assets and all sorts as well. And Peter, here in the studio below me, is going to be your driver for today. He's going to be taking you around Nebraska. How are you feeling about that, Peter?
I'm feeling good. I've done some research on some nice places we might see along the road. Actually, the first one is right behind our truck here. It's Lake McConaughey. As you can see, it's a really beautiful location.
Stunning.
So, yeah.
Absolutely stunning. Yeah, I kind of wish I was there right now, live streaming, maybe from that bench there on the left or something. It would be a nice background to have. But you're going to be taking us all around the different sites and cities and different locations. And we're doing a few jobs along the way as well. So you're going to have plenty of Nebraska right up until the release as well. And not only that, but we also have some giveaways planned as well. So definitely stick around to the end of the stream if you want to be involved in those giveaways. You've got a chance to get your hands on some keys for Nebraska. Another upcoming DLC releasing alongside Nebraska, which is the Sports Paint Job Pack, and as well as maybe a couple of extra things as well, which we will reveal in due time. So definitely stick around. And of course, for the actual release of Nebraska as well, at 7 p.m. CEST, do stick around. It's great to you all have along for the ride. And it's an absolute pleasure not only to be kind of here for the release, but also doing the very first one from our brand new offices, which are both you, Peter, and Anton are in the new studios right now. It must feel pretty good to be moved into your new home, technically, right?
Yeah,
it does, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really nice. So I say, without further ado, we should get trucking. Peter, where are we going to be heading to first? What's on the
course.
GPS?
So I took a look at some of the deliveries we can do, and one is right here in Valentine, which is from Valentine to Sydney. We actually ended up in Valentine on the Monday stream, which was the Nebraska gameplay stream. So I thought we can just drive there. There's supposed to be a very beautiful road to Valentine, and we can pick up the delivery there to Sydney.
Sounds good to me. It sounds like a nice drive. I say we should set off on that one and let's get hauling. Of course, if you haven't seen that already, that's our latest 1.50 update as well, with the new UI there and everything as well, which is all looking fantastic. But today, it's all about Nebraska, and I want to delve straight into it. Anton, again, thank you for being here as our very first guest. It's an absolute pleasure. And your senior researcher is your official title. So you're a part of the research department. Maybe could you talk a little bit more about where the research work started on Nebraska?
Yeah, sure. I think I first started to look into it in the summer of 2022. But at first it went really slow, and we started to work on that full time, I guess, in the January of the last year of 2023.
Wow.
That was when me and my two other colleagues got there, and we started working on that most of our time.
Wow, so we've been going for a little while indeed already, and just kind of a small part of the research team as well at the beginning there. And could you maybe like kind of describe the process of researching a map like Nebraska? Like, where does it all begin? Where do you even begin on such a kind of a big state? You know, because Nebraska isn't all just Great Plains and grass, is it? There's so much more to it.
Yeah, sure. Well, the first thing we did was to take a look at the road layout and to consult that with the map team, with the map design team leader, and with other people who have a say in how the final map looks like. And partly why I started to work on it so early in advance was that I wasn't just looking at the map, but also checking out other different kinds of information as to where people usually go. And I also like to study the culture of the state, what I like to describe as its mythology, because you can learn a lot about the state from what people who live there or who have been there actually got to say about it. And this is the kind of information that's not really easy to find, because you have to check places where, on the internet or elsewhere, where people express their genuine opinion. And collecting this information was a bit tedious process, but I think it paid off well, because eventually we were able to see the kind of hidden truth of Nebraska, if I may say so, that is usually hidden behind the immediate representation that you can find in tourist booklets or more easily accessible information. And this kind of cultural information also affected how we thought about the map, the roads, and the industries, and the things that are not only related to truck driving culture, but can also be interesting for our players. And then we just communicated this with the rest of the team here at with the other teams here at SCS Software, going back and forwards and discussing different topics. So that's the first stage. And then we start looking into the state more deeply. And that's when we study its industries, and it's also when we try to choose the things we want to represent into the game, and that are the most telling of the state, that kind of express its identity or its vibe in the best possible way. And that's also one of the longer parts of our job, because it's when we have to look literally just to Google Street View different towns and cities and the things you can see on the roads, and then make educated guesses as to what things should go into the game and what things maybe we can skip or omit or somehow represent differently. And that's also when we communicate a lot with our asset design teams, and then we kind of gather all that information up and present it to the other teams, and after that the main map design process begins. And at that point we generally have some smaller tasks where we need to find proof of some concepts, or say that something is true or false, something that map designers have noticed by themselves. Because the advantage of our department is that we get to really meticulously study almost every road, including even the roads that don't end up being represented in a DLC. And this is also where you can get some information about the state and what we should or should not include into it. into the
Yeah,
DLC.
thank you for describing that process. I mean, you can tell, I don't know if it chat as well, you can tell there how much work from the research department kind of goes into these things, because you think about it, when we were driving on the road, we're just kind of taking it as face value. This is just kind of what you see. This is what Nebraska looks like. But there's so much detail sounds like you and your team have gotten into. You're talking about the cultural side of things. You're talking about every road, every little piece of information you can try and gather, both good and bad. Because I particularly like what you said about, you can get information from tourist books, but obviously they just want to show you the best parts of everything, the perfect parts of Nebraska. But of course there's also not so perfect areas as well, other places that may exist in the area as well, and you're looking for everything. And I can only begin to imagine how large and full your hard drive must be, first of all, on your PC, with all of the research references and everything you download and take a look at as well. But second of all, really, you're the ones kind of painting the pictures, right? You're kind of putting all of the pieces together so that then others can come in and start to build upon it. You're kind of like the foundation. Would you say that's correct?
Well, I mean, that's a very flattering metaphor, of course, but one I don't think if I want to agree with, because it's still the map designers and the asset designers who like create the actual content. And usually it's interesting because when you work on a big project like that, you kind of see the result, and that you know that a lot of people have worked on it, but then your individual ego, your individual self is kind of dissolved into it. And that's a great feeling because, I don't know, just don't get to think too much about yourself, I guess. Just earlier today I was talking with this great map designer Tony, and he was telling me about one secret road he has created for the game. And he was telling me of how he and his wife actually made like a huge amount of research that wasn't really connected with our department. And so people do research on their own as well.
Okay.
And I guess what we try to do, like in this process, is that we try to guide people and to point out different areas where they can find interesting information or inspiration, because inspiration is very important. It's even maybe more important than the actual facts, because if you're inspired, if you have like an idea of something in your head and you have a vision of how to turn it into a tangible material representation, then you may not even like no, of course you need to see the reality, but then the work you do may be very interesting as well. That's what I try to say, I guess.
Understandable. I mean, again, it just sounds like a momentous amount of work, and it's great to hear that others are also doing their own little bits of research as well. And I imagine you maybe sometimes even get some particular requests from other team members, from other departments to look at certain things. Was that the case in Nebraska as well?
Yeah, sure. So as I've said earlier, sometimes map designers and 3D asset designers have like some ideas or guesses or concepts, and we are looking, in that cases they address us and ask us to basically find evidence whether their concepts are false or not. And this is like more philosophically speaking. And as for the concrete things, it's usually that we have to find references for some things that are hidden or not as easily accessible as the others. And this is one interesting thing. I like how you said about my computer drive being full of information and stuff, because research work also affects my private life, because oftentimes you have to look for this kind of information on unusual platforms like Instagram, using hashtags, or like on YouTube, researching how a particular technology in a factory works. And then your browser remembers your search history, and then you start seeing adverts about machinery, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary, isn't it? Sometimes maybe you'll be talking about one thing one time, and then suddenly it appears as you're recommended on YouTube or as an advert. You're like, that's a bit strange. But I didn't even think about that. That's that's quite interesting to hear. But kind of going back a little bit about what you were saying about finding things that you wouldn't normally be trying to search about and stuff. I imagine there can be some quite challenging things to find out about, maybe a certain industry or a certain area that's not really well known. Was there any really challenging parts of research for Nebraska?
Yes, I think that the most challenging thing about Nebraska was not to take the immediate reality of what we saw for granted, and to look for deeper meanings behind the picture, behind what we saw through Google Street View or on in the photographs we had and we worked with. But luckily I had a very great team, two of my great colleagues whose names are Petr Savchenko and Honza Jursik, and I specifically would like to mention them because they're just amazing colleagues and good friends. And together, the three of us, we had this one micro team inside our department where we communicated daily about things. And sometimes this communication was particularly interesting because it was not only about finding references, but it was actually problem solving. So sometimes one of the often types of requests we get from asset designers, from 3D model designers, is to find the the dimensions of a thing they want to model, and that can be tricky because some of those things you just see them in the picture and you don't know what kind of company produces them. You don't have the blueprint, and so in that case we try to problem solve, and we try to compare the heights of the dimensions of different objects that you can see inside the similar scene, and then kind of guess the dimensions of the thing that we've been asked to look for. And it's always a very fun process, one where you can not only learn a lot about the world, but also one that connects you with your colleagues because it's fun.
That's great. I mean, I love that. And I imagine it's a little bit similar to what me and Peter do. Maybe, Peter, you agree with this as well. When we're writing our blogs, we're often researching about particular subjects for those blogs as well to find out some fun information or some historical stuff for, for our players to enjoy to read. And from that, you learn quite a bit, but sometimes it can be quite challenging at the same time as well to find out a particular piece of information, maybe about some more difficult subjects or things that aren't very much online. And that sounds like a real challenge, finding measurements for a building, when it's only images online like that. That must be very, very challenging indeed. So I gotta hand it to you and the research team and everyone involved in that, because it's not an easy task, and it's quite a big task as well when it comes to think of it, because you're looking at everything related to the Nebraska DLC, not just what you see here in the map, but like you said earlier, you see and research a lot more as well that helps then bring it all together here in the end for the final product, which is pretty impressive. And in the past on streams I've seen before, we've seen some examples of some of the is it like the mood boards? I don't know if you call them mood boards officially or what they're called, where you just kind of put lots of research pictures and references together for everybody to look at. And it's always impressive to see when you have a lot of your research collected together in one area. And what would you say some of the main sources and tools that you use when you're researching? I mean, obviously you're using the internet quite a bit, but is there any other little tools, maybe like a book or something like that, or some unexpected things you might use?
Yeah, sure. I hope you guys can hear me better now, because in the chat they've said that I have to speak up. So I hope it's better now. So what I like personally to do is to study, as I've said, the culture of the state and literature especially. And one of the sources we used for Nebraska was Jack Kerouac's book On the Road. And even though it's a book that doesn't speak a lot about Nebraska, it has one interesting passage about it where the narrator of the book is describing Nebraska as a state that had like a huge economic boom in the 30s, and that a lot of people went there to, look for a job or just stay there or do something. And then I think Jack Kerouac has also a poem called Nebraska. And, poems are tricky because they are, a poem is difficult language, but they are good at conveying certain feelings and emotions, and we tried to highlight those and to point out those pieces of literature to our map designers. And the map design team for Nebraska is really amazing. It was a great pleasure working with them, and they were willing to take into account everything we said. And I think they were very inspired by some of the pieces of literature that they liked and that we shared with them.
Fantastic. That is definitely a place I wouldn't have expected research to kind of take place, and it's always so interesting to hear that, like, you're just finding kind of every channel and kind of every avenue, and then it's not just like, as simple as going on the internet and searching what is Nebraska or what is this, what is that. There's a lot more, looking at all different sorts of sources and even into history as well, which is of course incredibly important for a lot of the places which we research, both in Europe and in America. Of course, a lot of history which now contributes to kind of to today and the networks and the people and the culture, like Anton was saying. So that's so interesting to hear. And I wanted to maybe ask a little bit more of an interesting question in terms of in Nebraska. Was there anything like you remember particularly in your mind about like what was interesting to kind of get to know while researching material for Nebraska? Was anything like cool that you learned, or any kind of thing that you didn't expect to find out about Nebraska while you're researching?
Yeah, one thing was that in Nebraska there are a lot of people from the Czech Republic who have historically moved there over time. I think like the majority of those people like moved there earlier back in history. I don't exactly remember the dates, but yeah, there are a lot of Czech people there. And then there are like little things, one of the funniest things I guess is learning the memes. How like, because locals who live in Nebraska, they've got a lot of memes about their state, and like those little inside jokes that you get to understand only when you are familiar with the location, with the material. And learning to understand those was a pleasure.
Yeah, things that like only somebody who lived in that state would understand, right?
Yeah.
And I guess would be quite rare for like a tourist or somebody from outside the state to get to know. But again, all part of the research process, and this is what's so interesting about the research. And again, it's been an absolute pleasure to kind of get to learn more about it. And believe me, if I think Peter, last time when we were trucking in Nebraska, right, on our Let's Play, because it's interesting that you brought up that a lot of people from Czechia moved there back in the time, but there's also a lot of other different cultures and people that live there. There's is it O'Neill, which is the Irish?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Community, right? Yeah.
And what Anton said about a lot of people from Czechia living now in Nebraska, maybe I often see on Facebook a group that is dedicated to Czechs living in Nebraska, or
really?
maybe they are now living there for a long time, but maybe their ancestors are or were from Czechia or Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia even, and so sometimes I see some posts, mostly Czech food by Nebraskans.
That's cool though. I love the crossover, and I love to hear that. And then that must have been quite a nice little personal touch for you, Anton, to find that out about people from Czechia living in Nebraska. It must be like, oh, that kind of almost feels like a little part of home, in American Truck Simulator when you kind of learn about that, or in America just in general. Of course, people moving there from all over the world. So that's super interesting. And so with all this research happening and everything like that, you have the role of senior researcher. What does your kind of role involve on a day-to-day basis, Anton?
So when I just started working on Nebraska, it was a project like that I worked a lot on, and we cooperated a lot with my two colleagues I've mentioned. And now I'd say I generally supervise different projects and try to help my colleagues to keep up, with the schedule. Oh, by the way, right now we are going through one of my favorite roads in Nebraska.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I like it a lot. And the interesting thing about that road is that the hills that you can see around, that our map, first of all, they're extremely realistic, and this is how it also look. But because we're sitting in a truck and we have like a higher position above the ground level, we can see the hills better than how it actually feels, if you were like filming it sitting in a car. And I like how how our simulation, how our game highlights that. It's really cool. So going back to your question, I try to help my colleagues to keep up with the schedule because we are working on a lot of projects. Like there's really a lot of things going on, and I also have a few of my own projects. But I'd say that right now it's all about communication for me.
Yeah, it's very important within the team. I imagine there's a lot of organization that needs to happen as well. And of course, like you're saying, the communication, not only between your colleagues, but between other teams as well, because I'm sure you're talking to a lot of people on a daily basis during the research phase and passing information, taking requests, and then, having everybody kind of put their research together and making sure you're not accidentally researching the same things at the same time, and making sure you're making use of all of your time as best as possible while you're on a bit of a schedule. I imagine it can be a little bit tough at times, but it seems like you and the team have done an absolutely fantastic job, and it's so interesting to always hear about the research team as well. And you were mentioning there about like this is kind of like your favorite area in Nebraska with the hills, and I think that's a beautiful area as well. I love it. I'd love to go visit that spot in real life myself. But would you say you kind of have any other like favorite areas through Nebraska, maybe that the community shouldn't miss when they're driving through an American Truck Simulator?
Well, one of my favorite areas is the region called Ten Hills. And it's just beautiful. It has very unique kind of nature in Nebraska, and that's interesting because when we just started researching the state, on some forums on the internet, people said that Nebraska is a flyover state, and this I don't think I can agree with that. I don't think this is the correct description, because Nebraska has turned out to be like a hidden gem. And it has different nature areas, and each one of them is really unique. And I like the feeling of transitioning from one area to another. And I think one characteristic that they all share in common is that it's very calm experience of driving through Nebraska, and a very meditative experience, I'd say. And especially with the sandhills, I don't know, maybe because with Nebraska I went through it like in real life, so to say.
Oh, you did?
I mean, like I haven't been there, but with the references and with and then I did the same thing in our editor and in the actual map, and I have like a very nice impression of it, of these two experiences of combining the real life with the representation in our game.
And I've got to agree with you there 100%. Nebraska's been a state that surprised me when I was with Peter the other day during our Let's Play stream, when we're kind of driving with our community for the first time on live on the stream. I absolutely love, like you said, the transitions, but for me, I'm gonna have to be honest. I'm very sorry if there's anybody from Nebraska in the chat. This is just how I felt at the time, and now I realize I was very wrong. At first, I did just see Nebraska as kind of like, it's just one of those states that just has grass and some cows, and that's about it. And then that was all I kind of had knew. I wasn't very well knowledge, but since we've started kind of talking more about Nebraska, and I was learning through the blogs myself and doing my own research and actually seeing more of the map coming together. Yeah, there's so much actually hidden around Nebraska and some really beautiful areas. And actually, it's a lot more built up in other areas that I didn't realize. Like, the cities of Lincoln and Omaha, very built up. Actually, even got quite a bit of a skyline as well, and it looks beautiful. So it's really really cool. And yeah, trust me, chat, when I say when you're gonna be trucking through Nebraska, you're gonna find lots of nice little spots and hidden areas and places that are going to be really good looking. You're going to be quite surprised on your trucking adventures through Nebraska. So make sure you do add it to your Steam wish list if you haven't already. It's going to be definitely worth the wait when it releases tonight at 7 p.m. CEST. And Peter, I'm sure you can agree with me as well. You're just arriving at your destination, pulling in to the delivery spot. Have you been enjoying the drive so far? Have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, of course. It's always nice to explore new maps. And I really like Nebraska so far, so I'm looking forward to exploring more of that.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. And Anton, I have to ask, if you were to visit Nebraska in real life for yourself, would you try to see the entire state, or is there some particular areas that you'd like to go visit?
That's a good question. I guess I'd like to maybe it's a state where I'd like to be driving a lot. Because I was also working on Montana DLC. And after I completed my work, I had a feeling that it's a state where I'd like to live. And in Nebraska I'd like to have a longer trip through Nebraska, because some of the not requests, but when the DLC was still in production, people on the forum wrote that they would like us to keep Nebraska as close to reality as possible. And some of them even say that yes, we know that this state has long stretches of roads and that it has this reputation of being a flyover state. But I think that it's actually what the people on forum tried to say that they liked about it. And even though I don't think that it's a flyover state, I think that there's something about the experience of driving through it that is just different. And I can say that because I've researched, I've worked on a number of DLCs right now. And I have this special connection with Nebraska, maybe because I was responsible for it. But also, you see, that's the thing. When I was talking earlier about how we confronted this stereotype of Nebraska being a flyover state and how it really baffled us, when we actually got to study every little piece of the state and process a lot of visual material, we discovered that perhaps the more accurate name for it would be an open museum state. And that's something that we've also tried to highlight in terms of the assets and the 3D models. And those are the things that somehow communicate a sense of history that has happened before in those places. And those are not only wagons and things that speak of the past that happened a long time ago. Those are more also newer things, and this is, I think, something that our map designers have managed to highlight quite interestingly.
Absolutely, yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. Definitely not a flyover state, and I'm sure many more are going to agree with you when they get the chance to start driving for themselves in American Truck Simulator, as we'll see, of course, and with the start of the World of Trucks event as well, cruising in Nebraska. There's a lot to discover, even maybe some little hidden roads and Easter eggs, and maybe Anton, maybe you don't know a thing or two about those, do you?
About the Easter eggs, right?
Maybe is there a couple hidden around? Do you think, or
Yeah. So I've mentioned the secret road earlier, and then I think that in terms of so there's a lot of hidden work that map designers have put into adorning little scenes in town areas and in areas near towns. And the interesting thing about those scenes is that there's always a kind of interesting logic to them. So if you sometimes, I saw things that really interested me in terms of, the storytelling behind them. And those are not particular Easter eggs, but those are stories told through how objects are positioned on a map.
Okay.
So this, I mean, of course there's more to it, but this is how I'd like to answer to this question right now.
Okay. I think that's gonna be something for people in the chat and for our drivers who can be driving Nebraska to kind of check out for themselves. Of course, we're not going to give everything away, right? That's the point of them being a little bit Easter eggs and hidden, everything like that. But take note of that answer, chat. Take note of that answer, and maybe have a look around for yourself a little bit later on when Nebraska does release. So very interesting, very, very interesting indeed. Of course, it seems like there's a lot that the community should definitely explore and not miss when trucking through Nebraska. Lots of different landmarks, cities, natural areas, and even down to the industries as well, which I imagine must have been quite a little bit of a challenge for you and the team to kind of research a lot about, because there's so many farms, right? There's a lot of cattle, there's a lot of farms, and to try keep that unique looking and not all looking kind of the same in a smaller scale must have been quite difficult for you and the team. Did you find kind of like the research for that kind of agriculture industry quite difficult, or was it quite easy?
Well, actually, interestingly enough, but speaking about agriculture, it's one of the tougher areas, really. By the way, you can see the cows right now on the left. From my
There's
perspective.
plenty of them, yeah.
Yeah, but when you were mentioning the cows earlier, it's funny because the cows is actually one of the more interesting things in terms of how our map designers have used them. So yeah, the expression like owls are not what they seem, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
So I guess here you can say cows are not what they seem, and this is all I'm going to say right now. I'm not going to elaborate on that. But yeah, speaking about industries, farms are actually extremely tough to research. Probably because each farm is unique. There are like general elements to farms that are common for different locations. But then, every person has their own sense of, what to do and where to place individual buildings. So, in order to find the logic that is common for different locations, one needs to study a lot of materials and study a lot of references. So it's taking us a lot of time to work on the farms. One of my colleagues who started working on Nebraska with me, Peter, he's actually kind of a specialist on farms now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that because of Nebraska, like specifically, like the amount of research you had to do on it, or?
Yeah. No. It was just something he started doing after that. But I don't actually remember what industry he was researching in terms of Nebraska, because for each state we have like a few industries few new industries that we want to suggest, that we want to implement into the game. And then after long and passionate, so to speak, processes of discussion, we usually, end up with only, a few of them. And then we either rework the rest for the next DLCs, or we just don't use them at all, because it's actually not that easy to, make an industry work in terms of the internal logic of our game.
Understandable, yeah. And but it's interesting to hear, as widespread as the industry is in Nebraska, that it isn't the easiest thing to research. And it's kind of like you're saying, there's a lot of common kind of traits and general buildings that you always kind of see from the outside. But I know that the map team and everyone else involved has done a fantastic job in kind of bringing agriculture to life and really showing off the industry in Nebraska. Because if I remember correctly from one of the blogs that we wrote, that each of the depots for the farms and everything is handcrafted and unique in Nebraska, which is really, really fantastic. If you haven't read the blog about that, I do recommend reading on it a little bit later at our official blog site. But it's super, super interesting that each one of those depots is going to be unique, in their own way in terms of delivery points and the way they look, and whether they're smaller or larger farms, because they all exist in different sizes and states, and they all kind of do different things, right? It's not all just cattle, it's not all just crops, it can be a mix of things or a range of different things as well. So big props to everybody involved in that. I'm not sure, Anton, if yourself was involved in that process as well, of kind of finding out information for each of these kind of unique depots for players to deliver to. But either way, big shout out to everybody that was involved in that. And of course, we also have the new loading and unloading process, which I'm sure Peter at some point, hopefully, maybe we'll get to showcase a little bit later. We'll see. We'll see if we can find a job. I hope so. Fingers crossed. It'd be really cool to see it happening on the stream as well. So but I gotta ask, is there any places you think the community think will like the most? Do you think it will be the most popular kind of area in Nebraska when our players are driving through it?
Well, that's a good question. That depends on the kind of things, I guess, the person likes. There are some really nice downtown areas, and some interesting city details like street art. There's a downtown area in there's a downtown area in the game where there's really nice street art, and then there are cool depots. One, that's like a machinery building. I like that a lot, because in that depot you've got, to pick into the industry, and it's a huge area as well. So if the players like this kind of thing, if they are more into, technological details and stuff, and how depots work and what's inside the area, then they're gonna enjoy this. For those who like to see how those industries affect the rest of the state, one interesting thing may be looking for, because Nebraska is known as a state that's really connected with the railway industry.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things about it. And you can see this not only through the choice of depots that we have made, the choices of depots that we've made for the DLC, but also through how, this part of Nebraska's history is represented along the highways, along the roads. There are some roads where there are really scenic views of old railway bridges, smaller railway bridges that kind of blend with the environment. but it's very filmic. It's always very interesting views, and just how when you're kind of driving through, and you see how in parallel to your road, there's this different road unfolding, and it's just a nice feeling. I don't know. I like this about Nebraska.
So what you're telling me is that when people are driving through Nebraska, don't just, I mean, keep an eye on the road, but also, take the time to kind of look left and right and kind of maybe pull over a little bit and kind of have a look around the area, because there's lots of details still kind of yet to be discovered. And I also do love that you do mention about the art, the street art and such like that. It's actually one of the blogs that I worked on, and I gotta say I was blown away by some of the murals and the artwork you can see around different towns and cities and stuff like that. And I absolutely love that the ones that were chosen have a big, like a very strong connection with the history, whether that be a prominent figure from the past or just to do with nature itself, if there was the fish, or to do with travelers, or just even kind of like the older towns. It's really beautiful to see. If you ever spot any of them or seen any of them in our blog, you'll know what I mean. But also even more up-to-date art projects, like there was the one with the I've forgotten the actual name of it now, forgive me, but it's the angel wings, and there's a train now as we're talking about it going over the bridge. Perfect. Peter, you're doing a great job here, man.
Thank you.
Are you like coding the game as we drive or something to you get these perfect shots?
Yeah, I called the train to drive there.
We have called it together. That was an enchantment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have a train button here under this table.
Mm-hmm. You see, CJ, it wasn't that hard to follow the train, so there we go. But yeah, it was about the art project. I think it was a more recent one where people could stand in front of the angel wings, and you have kind of a couple of the NPCs kind of standing in front taking their selfies. And then I looked that up, and that project's quite a recent project as well. So it's great to see kind of older murals and newer stuff as well making it into the game. And I think that's something you're saying you take into consideration, right? It's kind of finding that right balance and mix of kind of like representing the past history and culture, and also keeping it up to date with the present as well. And I imagine that can be a little bit of a tough balance to get sometimes, right?
Yeah, sure. I like, by the way, how when we were passing by that depot area earlier, how there was also a train parked on the premises. A lot of depots in Nebraska are connected to the railway system, and I liked it about when I researched the state. And some of the industries, they're really huge, and they look like those technological Death Stars, really.
Yeah.
Not meaning that it's meaning that they are just huge and there's a lot of technology in them. So it's interesting. And then you've got those vast vistas of vast stretches of roads and scenery that I also like a lot.
Yeah, it's impressive. Honestly, it's incredibly impressive. Were you going to say something, Peter? Sorry.
Yeah, that what I like especially about Nebraska is that with those vast fields, you can see so far to the distance that you can put those little details, So there's a lot of fun.
On the horizon, just kind of off in the distance, maybe like a cowboy or something riding into the sunset. Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. But yeah, what you're saying about the railroads and the trains as well, I gotta say, I had no idea, for example, about Bailey's Yard, which is obviously just an absolutely incredible sight to see, and one that's been represented in American Truck Simulator in this Nebraska DLC. And it's incredible. You have the lookout tower that I've forgotten the official name. Somebody did put it in the chat last time, and I've already forgotten it. But it's such an impressive industry, and I love how you found the link between kind of trains and truckers on the road, and kind of there's other logistic kind of transports out there that all make up kind of the logistic process in America of trucks and trains and cars and planes, and it's all kind of involved in American Truck Simulator. Yes, that's right, the Golden Spike Tower. Thank you, JGK123123. Love that username. It's fantastic. But it's really, really great to see how much has been combined into the Nebraska DLC. It's very, very impressive as well. And that's probably going to be one of my favorite industries kind of up there. You know, some of the railroad stuff is really, really cool to see because it makes the world feel just that little bit more alive. You know, you see a train passing underneath the bridge like that where we just had Rapido. You see a train yard and things being moved around and loaded. It's really, really great to see, and very, very impressive as well with the amount of train tracks that run through Nebraska. Because I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, was it one of the states with quite a lot of railroads, right? Like maybe more than a lot of others.
Yeah, sure. I don't think I'll be able to recall exact statistics, but even from the pictures we saw and we worked at, the frequency of railroads was definitely bigger than with the other states I have worked on.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't remember the I was just trying to look it up very quickly here on our blogs. I do remember writing about it, but I can't seem to find it right now. But yeah, it isn't impressive either way. So,
but you know, the railroads themselves, it's just one aspect of it, right? And when you're representing something, there are like multitudes of other things related to it, and they're also telling, you know, of that. Of that particular thing, of the railroad element. So not only the railroads but assets related to them. And we actually, one of the new things in Nebraska was interesting, that we worked on some smaller assets and some smaller models. You know, I like the little things you see on a railroad station or on a train depot. Those little switchers, little boxes, all that kind of stuff. And with Nebraska DLC, we've made this one further step in, you know, how detailed we want this part of reality to be. So, and it was a bit challenging to research those things, but luckily we had a colleague who is a great train enthusiast, so he was able to describe all those things greatly. But yeah, man, that's sometimes you are really astonished by how complicated those things are, and by how, you know, a lot of different elements are involved into what seems to be, into what's so functional, and so, you know, you're used to those things, you use them daily. And you never think of how much of little details and parts are involved into this standard functional, seemingly easy operation of a train yard.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. Like you said, it's something a lot of us would have used, and you're just a part of that big journey that happens to get you to your destination, or get your, you know, your parcel or whatever it may be that you're moving on a train to its destination. You know, for us, it'd be like us getting on a train, sitting on the train, maybe on our phone for a bit, and then you get off and that's it. But you don't realize the big operation behind it, right? All those little things that come together to make that journey possible. And I love that you've included, you know, all of those little details in the game. So it's fantastic to hear. So thank you again. It sounds like your research is second to none. I have to give huge props to you and your team and everyone involved in the research there, because it sounds like you've really helped make this such a great DLC to include so many little details about culture and industry and, you know, all of these important things which make Nebraska what it is, you know. And that's the important part, right? That's what your aim is to really represent Nebraska in its best way possible, from the perspective of a truck driver, but also for the general interest of players as well, who want to maybe learn more about the history of the states or the culture or such like this as well. So no, really, really got to hand it out to you and your team, and we appreciate you sharing so much information about it. I just want to just quickly watch here. You unloading? You are unloading your grain here. Look at that. That's one of the new features exclusively with Nebraska, the unloading feature of some grain. Looks really cool, right? Very unique, right? Kind of a new unloading and loading that we have in Nebraska, which is really cool. And you can find out more about that on our blog as well. Actually, unloading, yeah, absolutely. If you haven't seen this already, definitely check it out on our blog. there you have to kind of continue moving forward to kind of get both parts of your trailer unloaded as well. I'm sure we'll definitely talk more about that with our next guest as well. So, but unfortunately, time is running out very quickly, though. We're almost at the end of our hour here, so we kind of want to start to wrap things up here. So maybe one or two more questions before we disappear. What would you like to say to our community? Because we have so many people here on our Twitch and our YouTube right now, right here, and we got to thank you so much for your time and for being able to share so much about research.
Thank you for having me.
And beyond, yeah. And is there anything you'd like to share with the community in terms of Nebraska and the team?
Yeah, I've got a fun one.
Sure.
Look under the bridges.
Look under the bridges.
Yes.
Okay.
That's one thing. And the other thing, the things you see under the bridges, we actually saw them. So, reality may be stranger than you think, guys. And maybe more interesting. Okay. But I'm sure you know that. And I hope that Nebraska DLC and our game in general will help you to, make uncovering reality more fun and interesting, and driving through it will be as pleasurable and as fun as it was for us to work on it.
Awesome. Well, who knows what's going to be under those bridges? First off, lots of people making guesses in the chat. My first instinct thought for some reason was like, did you see a troll? Was there a troll under the bridge? Making you pay to cross the bridge? I don't know. I'm very interested to know. I'm very. Peter, start looking underneath those bridges. We need to find out.
I will.
Who knows? I mean, some of the guesses coming in right now. Is it aliens? Is it the winning lottery numbers? Was it Yoda? I mean,
I don't know. I won't be saying anything, but it's just a cute, nice thing that is that. Okay, so here I am going all academic again, but it's a cute, fun thing that that you can actually see on the road. Let me say it like this.
Okay. Well, we won't say any more about that because you don't want to ruin the surprise too much. And are we going to be starting loading here, by the way, Peter? I want to check out this loading again. Yeah, this is us now checking out the loading process. So we just did the unloading, and now we've got a new job.
It's the night loading, yeah.
Check that out.
Happy we can do both.
Yes, that is cool. That is so cool. So yeah, this is just a part of the Nebraska DLC with certain grain and corn and different products as well that you can haul with a hopper trailer here as well. So people are asking, where specifically are you right now, Peter? Do you know whereabouts you are in terms of the map?
Sydney.
In Sydney, not Australia. Don't get confused, chat. We are still an American truck simulator, okay? So but I'm so glad that we get to see this on stream. This looks excellent. Yeah, we got to 50%. We kind of have to edge our way forward to kind of activate the next part of it. There it goes. How cool is that, chat? How cool is that? Very, very cool indeed. I love it. And where are we going to be heading to next, Peter, by the way?
We are going to be heading back to Aliens. I think that's the name of the town. It's pretty close to Sydney, and I hope we will be able to pick a delivery to somewhere where we haven't been yet.
Sounds good. Well, we do have to disappear with Anton shortly. Again, Anton, thank you so much for your time. I hope you and the team are able to celebrate a little bit this evening. I know there's a bit of a kind of party, I guess, happening up, a bit of a celebration together happening in the office, so we don't want to keep you too much away from that. Please save some food and drinks for Anton and the team as well, who can be on the street.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me here, Alex. It was a pleasure talking to you, and Peter, thank you guys. Thank you, Peter, for driving, and thank you, chat, for your interactions. I wasn't able to see all of your messages, unfortunately, but the ones I saw I tried to address, and I will be looking forward to talking to you guys in the studio sometime soon. Thank you again. Bye bye.
Look forward to having you back. Appreciate it. And chat, in the meantime, in just a couple minutes we'll be taking a break here, just for 5 minutes, so we can switch guests over, let Anton go enjoy the rest of the evening as well. But in the meantime, just want to do a couple of reminders, chat. First of all, if you're just joining us, welcome along. You're watching the Nebraska release stream for American Truck Simulator, releasing at 7 p.m. Central European Summer Time. That is in 2 hours, right? I'm an hour behind, so I always get a little bit confused, but not long to go. And well, if you're just joining us, you've just missed our first guest, but don't worry, the stream will be available to watch a little bit later on, so you can catch up if you've missed anything. But now that you're here, do not go anywhere, because we've got another guest coming up. We've also got some giveaways as well happening, and you want to stick around to the end of the stream for that. And we'll also be showing the release of Nebraska for American Truck Simulator live on the stream as well. So do not go anywhere. And of course, we also have, with the release of Nebraska, the Cruising Nebraska Wild Trucks event, which we'll touch on a little bit later, as well as another kind of surprise DLC releasing alongside of it. You may have seen it in the blog already. That's the Sports Paint Jobs Pack as well, which you should definitely check out if you haven't seen it already on our release blog, blog.scssoft.com. You can find out all the latest news there, and our latest release blog is there as well. If you're looking for time zones, I've seen some of you asking about time zones and such, then definitely go check that out. It has a lot more information there for you guys. But do not go anywhere. We're going to be taking a quick break. We will see you in 5 minutes. See you then. Welcome back, everybody. How
Hello.
are we doing? If you're just joining us, welcome back. My name is Alex. I'm your community manager here at SCS Software, and joining me in the studio, we have again Peter, our other community manager, who's been on the road in Nebraska for us for the past hour and is continuing to drive right now onto his next destination. But we're also joined by our second guest, Simon. It's great to have you back again. Actually, it's not your first time, is it, in the studio? First time in the new studio, but great to have you back again. Matt DLC lead of Nebraska. Thank you so much for coming here this evening. Thank you for your time. How are you feeling today?
Hey Alex and Chet, I feel so stressed right now. It's too much pressure to me right now. But I think, or I believe that if you care about something too much, you need to feel some stress, and I feel that's a good stress. So I'm excited for today.
I bet you are. You and your team has been working very, very hard on Nebraska, of course. I can understand the stress. I can understand, like you've been working on this for quite a while and this is kind of like your baby and it's always a bit nerve-wracking to put it out to the world. But trust me, chat, let's get some positive messages in for Simon and the team all behind Nebraska have all been involved. Let them know your excitement and positivity for Nebraska, and let's see if we can't make them feel a little bit better. It's an exciting day, of course. In just a couple of hours' time, we will be pushing the big red button to release Nebraska to all of you at 7 p.m. CEST. Previously we were talking with the research lead, and now we're talking with the map DLC lead. And maybe, Simon, you want to kind of explain to us a little bit, what is kind of your role as a map DLC lead, or what's your kind of day-to-day for people who might not know what that might involve?
Oh, that's a trick question. Well, I guess you can imagine the role of the lead like a chef in a kitchen. You need to deliver a good quality in a good time, and I also care about the people, about their moral, their good feel in the office and the team, and that's pretty my job over the whole year.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's a really good way to put it. Actually, I never actually thought about it in the way kind of the head chef. So maybe we should start saying yes, chef. As a
or perhaps the dirigent of some orchestra. I think when people applaud the orchestra, it's really for the people with instruments, not the dirigent. So that's what I feel.
Understandable. And so on a kind of day-to-day basis, are you kind of running around to each of your members and kind of organizing what they should be working on, or are you seeing how they're doing and kind of like taking notes, or kind of, I imagine your day has a lot of meetings as well, of course, to kind of sync up with lots of different aspects as well, right?
That's exactly it. I mean, every person has its own approach, unique style, and I'm the one who need to decide what's the general quality for the whole state, and I need to ensure that the whole state is fluent in terms of quality. So that's also my job.
Sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like a lot of work.
It is.
But hopefully
Plus,
it's all going to be worth it.
Yeah, the meetings, and I'm also in the role of teaching new people, new mob designers right now. So
which there's been actually quite a lot of, right, in the past kind of little while since we last spoken. Of course, we're in the brand new office, and there's been a lot of changes over the past few weeks. I imagine that must have been quite a challenge as well during that transition period as well. So again, we appreciate all of your work, and as well as the team as well, because I know it's been a very interesting time probably for everybody during that time, kind of getting work, continuing work and moving on with the work. But we'd love to hear where it all started, kind of like from the beginning. Kind of wanted to ask, well, first of all, what are some of the previous DLCs you've worked on and projects, and was there much of a difference this time around since we were doing it those previous times?
Yeah, of course. Well, I started on Oregon, then I moved to Washington, and this was my mob designer's roles. And then I started with DLC Texas as a map lead, which took 3 years. Then I'm now at the role of DLC Nebraska, and we just started another DLC, which is still under the hood. So
under the hood, keeping it secret. Yeah, we have to keep that one under wraps for now. But very, very exciting to hear. So I imagine from all those times previous we were working, you've managed to kind of gain quite a lot of experience and kind of knowledge into how the production should sort of work and working with your team. And I imagine from when you were first doing it to now, there's been quite a difference. Do you feel like you've kind of grown a little bit as a lead in terms of that knowledge and experience?
You mean over the years, over the Texas, or it's like one of the part was the Patrick. He is also DLC lead. He helped me a lot in Texas, and Texas was a huge DLC, not just for me but for the whole company. And we, how to say that, there was so many challenges we need to went through that teach us many things. We just use it now in upcoming DLCs. So it was pretty challenging. If I answered your questions, sorry if not.
No, that's all good. That's all good.
Okay.
No worries. We'll do our best with it. But I can imagine that each state has its kind of own challenging things about it. No matter how big or small they are, of course, they all have their own challenges when it comes to it. So I kind of wanted to ask, when at what point did you start beginning to work on Nebraska? You know, how long ago was it with your team when you began the project?
Well, that's a good question. Well, we released DLC Texas, and I believe 15th of November 22, and then we started on Texas 2.0, which was the update for Texas, included Texarkana and other like scenic towns, roads, etc. And we finished that like in 3-4 months. So we started Nebraska in April last year. So it's almost exactly 1 year from.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah,
that's an impressive amount of time to kind of get things working in. And how many people were a part of the team kind of at the start there, or how many are there now in total? Is it quite a larger team or a smaller team?
Yeah. In Texas, when we finished the Texas, we had like 37 or 38 guys, like directly working on Texas, and then almost everybody like ran away to different DLCs, to Arkansas, to Missouri, to California, and we had 4 or 5 guys that had some experience, and then we got 4 new people, and on the road we got another 4 people, so we have like 11 or 12 right now. But like most of the guys are pretty new in this company, and still we managed to get this beautiful DLC. This is quite amazing for me still.
Wow. So really not that big of a team as many might think at the start there.
Yeah.
So I imagine you kind of really had to carefully kind of dedicate each kind of part of Nebraska that you want to be worked on at a time to different people and really share out the workload there. Would you say that was quite challenging at the time to do, to kind of juggle that in effect? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was. By the way, I just need to mention that a lot of people helped us on the road. For example, a few guys from California, a few guys from Arkansas, also the Missouri. There were actually more people included in this DLC.
Wow.
To be
Awesome.
the best.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Go ahead, Peter.
I wanted to ask,
Sure.
you mentioned that you worked on the Texas DLC previously, and I wanted to ask if there's like something signature in your work that we can maybe spot in Texas as well as Nebraska.
Oh,
That's a
an
good
interesting
question.
question.
It is.
Huh. I need to say that Texas is pretty different from Nebraska, so the common things would be like minor, but I would need to like go through my knowledges, through my thoughts right now, so can't remember one thing, to be honest. I would say we used few things from the older DLCs, for example, Washington and Montana. Some people might know what I'm talking about, some might not yet.
Okay, so something to
What
look out
Peter
for.
here is pretty close to what I'm talking about.
Okay, you
Oh,
don't
really?
want to
What,
spoil
in
it.
terms of driving?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything right now.
Understandable. I mean, there's gonna be lots for the players to explore, as we were talking about a little bit with Anton. There's lots of things to be discovered in Nebraska, and lots of things which, I'm still finding surprising about Nebraska, because I was saying earlier how I always thought, oh, Nebraska is just one of those states where it's just cattle and grass and fields, and that's about it. But actually, there's a lot more. There's a lot more that maybe people do or don't know about. And we're kind of discussing earlier how it shouldn't be just kind of considered as a flyover state, that people should definitely check out what it has to offer. There's a lot. It's in terms of history and industries, and even some of the cities are quite built up as well in terms of their size and the skyline as well. And it's actually quite surprising for me, despite the fact that in real life the population isn't so large. There's actually more cattle than people. I believe that's still a thing. I think it's like 3 cattle per person. So there is still a lot of space and people which could move in there. But I wanted to ask, was there any like particular kind of like highlights for you in Nebraska when you were kind of working on it?
By the way, I need to mention one more thing.
Sure.
Yeah, the Anton, he saved us. He's like a research god for us, because I can ask the chat, what is your like general opinion about Nebraska? What do you know about Nebraska? What do you heard about Nebraska? If there is something, I can wait a few seconds if you can type. I think about cattle, secret roads. Yeah. Well, the first what I heard about Nebraska, if you know the TV show Big Bang Theory, there is Penny.
Oh.
And Penny was from Nebraska, and almost like everyone laughed at her that she's from Nebraska, and it's the most boring state in the United States of the America. And we had like this opinion, and with this one we came to this DLC, and we were like, hey, what we gonna do? But Anton came to our office, like he spawned from nowhere, and he made this presentation about Nebraska, the interesting things, like, hey, did you know there is like this thing, this landmark, this secret road, this history. And when we go away from this presentation, we just fall in love with Nebraska. So yeah, his job is amazing, right? Really good.
Could not agree more. And if that isn't the reason to not judge a book by its cover, then I don't know what is. So absolutely truer words could not be said.
Exactly.
There.
And
Yeah.
so we did pretty much did the boring part, right? You mentioned if I can highlight something. So I consider the boring part, we added for example, the sandhills, the most recognizable thing in Nebraska, those like hills in the prairies. We added several mountains. We added like landmarks, car henge, archway. We have a racetrack, secret one, by the way.
Ooh.
Someone might see the cave already, or the Scottsbluff Monument, which is the I believe the top highest mountain in Nebraska, or at least one of the most famous. And you can in real life go there, there's a road up there, and you can see the whole scenery, like the city, the fields, the river, the trains. And we get there. We were in Nebraska, and we said to ourselves, hey, we need to do this in our game. But we had so many limitations, like the engine wasn't pretty much ready for it. But we squeezed the engine to the limit, and someone might explore this area around, but I don't want to spoil anything, so...
Is that the mountain you were talking about?
Yes, that's exactly one. Good
Peter
timing.
done it again. Yeah, this is not the first time in this stream, by the way. This is probably like the fourth or the fifth time where we've mentioned something and it's on screen, if not a minute later. I don't know how he does it. There's something weird going on. There's something really strange. Like he's already done this stream before and he just knows where to go. Like this has already happened somewhere in a different parallel universe or something. But I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories right now. But really, really cool. So did you say you were part of the trip that actually went to Nebraska on an actual trip? And how did you find it when you were out there? Like, because obviously maybe a lot of people in the chats, and for people like myself, and I'm sure many others from our team, we've never been out there. Was it as you expected, would you say, or?
Well, not that much actually. It surprised how this state feels, because the nature, it feels like home. It feels so beautiful, so romantic, and the rolling hills, it's pretty much like a roller coaster sometimes, and there's like too many flowers, too many like trees, and also the fields, the vast landscapes, and beautiful cities, the small ones, the great ones. So I think everyone can find something interesting at every corner, and that was our approach for this DLC. And one of the things that you need to see on your own eyes, if you look at some like images that you can find on the internet, they usually use some lens like fish eye, and it means most of the like mountains are squeezed. They are on the picture smaller and feels farther away from you. But when you get there, it's much closer to you, it's much higher. And when we get to our office, we knew we need to change our approach in this way. So it helped us a lot, this travel.
I can imagine. Really kind of get a feel for the, like you said, the space, the size of things which aren't necessarily easy to kind of distinguish when you're looking at an image on the internet. But I can imagine not only that, but also how the industries are. And I imagine you did a lot of traveling in the time that you were there. Probably a lot of driving, a lot of taking photos, checking out a lot of industries and trying to get around as much as the state as possible.
Yeah, we have like 10,000 photos or maybe more. Several hours of video footage, and we try to get to like every corner, to every depot or prefab area. It was actually funny because in the time we get there was like a national holiday for like 4 or 5 days, and almost every like warehouse area or prefab area was open and was empty, so we were able to take footage that perhaps wouldn't be able in different time.
So you got very lucky then with the timing when you were out there.
Yes, pretty much.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And did you at all get to kind of speak with some people who lived out there, meet some of the people that live in Nebraska, or some of the people who drive trucks and stuff like that? Is that kind of part of the process when you're out there?
Yes. On the other hand, people were in the time were on their holidays, so there wasn't too much people actually. Yeah. But we did, and we also traveled to this like Czech settlement or Czech city, small town, and we talked to these people, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. Anton was telling us a little bit earlier about that, how there's a lot of people from Czechia who have moved over there and kind of have their own community out there.
Yeah, actually,
And I didn't realize you got to visit them.
Yeah, Nebraska is one of the top like population from the Czech Republic there.
That's incredible. And did you learn much from them, like why they had moved out there, or if they have like, could they still speak the language, for example? Were they,
That was our first question to ask. If they still use the Czech language, and in most not that much, but they still keep the like habits or the culture things, and like murals. I don't know how to pronounce that. Like when they have a shop, they have like pictures from Czech Republic or some items there. So
some of the history and some of their
exactly.
kind of past and stuff. Got it. And by the way, Peter, I love that you're checking out. This is Carhenge, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's my favorite landmark from Nebraska.
Oh.
Yeah, so I had to check it out. But I won't show the viewpoint here because I don't want to spoil it all for guys watching. So yeah.
Understandable. I mean, I got to say, we're very flattered here in the UK that people have gone to recreate Stonehenge out in different countries using cars. It's quite unique, actually. I've never seen that one before, and quite a popular tourist spot, I've heard, with all the different cars there built up to look like Stonehenge. But I love that. And did you get to visit many of those landmarks for yourself as well?
Yes, we did. We were there, exactly. And
really, you were there? Was it busy? Was there a lot of people visiting?
No, we were alone there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there are like historical signs when you can read the history, which was pretty amazing. And there's like I do not recall the name of the guy who did this, but I know he traveled to England to visit the Stonehenge, and he fall in love in this like landmark, and he needs to deliver to his hometown. So
I gotta say, I'm quite impressed, because obviously it would be very hard to recreate that with real stone again, because it's heavy. You need a lot of people to carry stuff and cranes probably and stuff like this. But to then decide you're going to do it with cars, I mean, that sounds even a bit more challenging than using stones. Actually, you got to balance it and paint them and everything like that as well. So
and cars can be also pretty heavy.
They can be pretty heavy as well themselves with their engines. It'd be interesting to learn more from that guy about the whole process of creating it. But that's for another time. That is for definitely another time. But yeah, let's get back into kind of talking more about the DLC itself. So since that trip that you went out to Nebraska and brought back references and such like that, do you think that kind of made the whole process a lot easier now that you'd seen it kind of with your own eyes and were able to share your experiences with the team back at the studios?
Of course, we knew the feeling from the state. We knew what to focus on. I wouldn't say if we wouldn't be there, it would be like a disaster. Of course not. But it helped a lot to catch this feeling, to these like small things, small details. Also the huge, I don't know, the landscape, for example. On the Google images that we are using, it feels more flat than in real life. So when we came, we just picked the tool, how it is called. Never mind. The tool that makes terrains, like sculpting tool, and we just did more of more elevations, more hills.
Oh, right. Yeah, because you kind of had a vision in your mind.
Here, for example, that was one of the parts.
Again,
Good
Peter.
timing.
Again. He's done it again, chat. He's done it again. Can't believe it. So from that trip, was there anything then you're like really excited to kind of work on when you came back? You're like, oh, I can't wait to maybe put this in here or kind of work on this specific area?
For example, Sandhills. There is this road, US 83, if I can remember. We traveled from Thetford to Valentine, and there is this road that's narrow, like 20 kilometers. and it feels like a roller coaster. And when we came to the office, I told Draki, who she did this road, that we need to like make some example or some prototype, and I came to her like in 3-4 hours, and she showed me like this prototype, and we knew this is something it needs to be there because it worked in the prototype, and when something works in prototype, it will be amazing when it will be finished. So Sandhills, it's one of the on the list.
All right, chat, write that down. That's one of the first places you got to visit once it releases.
Yeah, if you want to see the most like iconic thing in Nebraska, visit these Sandhills.
Sandhills. We want to see lots of photos from there, so definitely send us those on social media for sure. But sounds awesome. I really love that you get so inspired when you're out there to bring it all back to the team, and then able to turn that into really detailed and parts of the map for the DLC. But of course, I imagine one of your larger challenges is that you probably want to fit so much in, but you're working on that scale, right?
Oh, can you like explain more to me? What do you think?
Yeah,
what
sure.
Do you mean?
So like, you know how we're working on a smaller scale map wise.
Oh.
So when you've gone out to Nebraska, I'm sure you want to try fit as much in as possible because you've seen so much, right? You're like, wow.
Yeah, the scale.
I want to put that in. Yeah.
Yes, the scale is the most challenging part of our work. For example, if you have like 20 miles, you know you need to pick just one from it, or just squeeze more areas to one. So yes, the scale is the hardest thing.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying earlier, me and Peter, we were just so impressed because despite the scale, and I know you mentioned a little bit about this earlier, you know the team have done an absolutely fantastic job on producing these magnificent views of the landscape that just seem to go on, and it just seems like they look like they go on forever, you know. And I'm sure it's like some sort of trick or illusion you got up your sleeve, but it looks fantastic. Like some of the viewpoints we've seen already, and I think you've done such a fantastic job of getting those in, and I imagine that was quite an important thing to you.
Yes. For example, the one thing that we bring to us from this trip was the view distance. That, like you said, you can see further away. The same, we pretty much squeezed our engine to the limit, so we have this long views. The Sandhills is one of the, I would say, best example. We have like a limit for 1 kilometer or 1 mile, and this road is like 3 kilometers or 3 miles. So we somehow did it, and it feels amazing.
Well, it looks amazing as well. So, chat, I hope you appreciate all of the wonderful views that you'll see across Nebraska. You just kind of get a little sneak peek here as we're driving around, but you're going to have a lot of fun exploring it for yourself. Trust me on that. And we wanted to ask, was there any part of the DLC that you actually got to work yourself on, or were you kind of a bit consumed by your leader roles in terms of you know, meetings and more like that?
Well, Alex, I love the mapping, so I need to do something. I'm not sure if I want to spoil what, but
okay.
I did one city and one road. So yes, I did something.
One city and one road. Okay.
I still believe in role of lead. You have like 2 options. When someone has a problem, you can say, hey, I'm not sure about the solution, but I know a good or a guy who will help you. Or you can somehow teach yourself and be in that position that helps others. So
I like that.
I am the second guy.
I like that a lot, and that seems kind of really great, and I'm sure the team really appreciated that sort of approach as well. Another thing we wanted to touch on a little bit, if you don't mind as well, but obviously keeping it as kind of hidden and secret as possible at the same time. We're speaking a little bit earlier with Anton about maybe some surprises players can kind of find around the map, some little hidden areas, because not everything on the GPS is what it seems, right? You know, not every single road is seen on the GPS. I'm sure it was quite fun to be able to add in yourself. Is there quite a lot to discover, would you say, in terms of maybe some hidden areas or roads or Easter eggs?
Yes, they are there. We have some small roads, some small hidden roads. We have great ones, the cave, for example, and there are like minor things, like small Easter eggs. For example, in Texas, there are huge Easter eggs. For example, the Kill Bill, the Wolverine reference, the good, bad, and ugly kind of scene. And in here, we focused on more like scenes from a life. Someone might find a reference for something, but it is like niche things, and like roads, secret roads, hidden roads. Everything is there. If you will look at it, you will find it.
I like that. So again, I said this before, chat. Take the time to explore. Like, obviously, if you want to do your thing first with cruise in Nebraska, or you want to get some jobs on first, fine, but make sure you do take the time to look around and cruise a little bit if you can. You know, really take your time and look around and see what you can find, because who knows what's around the next corner, right? There's always something interesting around the corner. Something really interesting, though, that we were actually looking at earlier was the something very unique currently to Nebraska, which is the brand new dynamic loading and unloading feature, which Peter actually did a job with earlier, which is at select agriculture depots across the state, using an ownable grain hopper trailer. And that is fantastic. I'm sure maybe you got to see some of those industries for yourself. I'm not sure if you saw any trucks using them if it was a holiday, but yeah, seeing that unloading of the, you know, some of the corn or soybean or grain, etc. as well. It's a really great and cool thing that we have now in Nebraska. Did you have much of a part to play in that, or?
To be honest, there are many specialists for this feature, so I rather stick to the map thing.
Yep.
But I can tell you one thing that is important, and if people remember the stream or the blog post when we released Kansas, we said that these agricultures, because we released the new feature, custom depots, which are like farms, grain elevators, and they are custom made by the reference. There are like many unloading spots, different from previous ones. We said this is like one step on the roadmap, and in Nebraska, with this new feature, unloading and loading process, this is another step. We might do more steps, who knows, but we might.
Okay. Well, we'll keep that in mind. Again, you can find out more information on that on the blog. And I know that it is in its first phase, so it's still kind of a work in progress feature. So keep that in mind. And we also mentioned a little bit earlier about how each of the agriculture depots are actually all kind of like handcrafted and unique, right? Each one in Nebraska, which is crazy impressive, which is really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's. I imagine that was quite a big job.
It was. Yeah, it was. By the way, one thing I need to mention too, this feature works for ownable trailers and for this custom depots area for now yet. So
okay. I'm liking the tease. I like it. It's something to hopefully look forward to in the future for sure.
I wanted to. Sorry,
go ahead.
Alex. I just wanted to ask another question.
Oh,
sure. Because you know, the plains are so vast in Nebraska. You can see so far into the distance. There's also a lot of like smaller details there, like smaller farms in the distance, which I believe have to be there. So it's just not empty, right? And I wanted to ask how much time did those take, because there are just small details in the distance, but there are so many of them because you can see so far here. So you have to put many of those them.
You asked two hard questions to me.
Sorry.
Well, in terms of time, I think when you create like fields, it feels empty. So you need to add some details to it, and it sometimes is a work of try and error. Do you say that like this way? And I don't know how to answer you correctly, but we usually use the references from the from what is actually there, and if we feel that there is something missing, we just look for something, or we ask Anton, and he knows every answer. So we just ask him, and he's like, "Hey, yeah. Thanks. Add this farm, this silo, this like windmill, cows, hays," and we're like, "Okay. Thank you. It will be super perfect."
That's awesome. That's really, really interesting to hear. And yeah, honestly, so far been really impressed by the work that's been undertaken in Nebraska. Again, at first sight for me, Nebraska, I just thought maybe it would be quite a simple state, but it's actually turned out to be quite a complex one with many intricate details and more. And one thing that me and Peter noticed when we were driving in Nebraska the other day on our Let's Play live stream was how each part of kind of the state that you're in, it feels different because it's all unique, right? It's nothing really that looks the same in one spot. And was it quite a challenge for you to kind of master those transitions between kind of like the more drier areas that maybe we're seeing here, where it's a little bit more dry and not so much vegetation, to the more built up areas?
It was quite a challenge. By the way, Peter, where are you heading? I'm just asking.
Sterling.
Okay. Oh, it's Colorado, but okay.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, did you leave the state?
Oh, I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that.
By the way, Alex, good timing, because I recognize it by the vegetation and textures and ground. So I knew it's different. Just saying.
I didn't notice the state line. Sorry. I will quickly turn back to Nebraska.
That's okay. By the way, Alex, we have like specialists for materials, for vegetation, for rocks, for like everything, and every do they job to I don't know how to say that correctly, but to feel that the state is whole, it's fluent, and the nature is like glued together.
I was going to say, we had a blog recently as well, talk about vegetation and all the unique trees and plants and the fauna that you can find locally around the area. And I got to echo what you say about the vegetation kind of specialists, because they do a fantastic job on kind of finding out all these things and then passing that information on to the different teams to bring it all together to show in our game.
By the way, you can see on your own eyes how we managed to make the blend between Colorado and Nebraska in a moment.
Yeah,
so this should be interesting to see then.
That's a good thing, actually, that I went from Nebraska, right?
Very planned. Very planned.
I just wanted
100%.
to show that.
It was showing about the transitions, he was just keeping with the script,
By the way, Colorado is like 3-4 years ago, so yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how quickly that time travels. It didn't feel like too long ago since we released it. So that's pretty incredible. But yeah, we should be able to see the state sign here and the transitions you're talking about. But yeah, big shout out to them, to the vegetation team.
Someone in chat asked if I can tell each state by its vegetation. There's
good question.
There is this fun fact that if you know GeoGuessr, the game. Yeah. The people who will tell you what state it is, it's mostly by vegetation and by trees, by of course the road, the what it's called, like history of the towns, etc. But the vegetation plays a huge role, so you can actually tell the difference.
I'm always blown away by seeing some of the, I don't know if you've ever watched some of the YouTube videos of like compilations of professional GeoGuessr players where they're put in one spot and they're not allowed to move from that spot, and they have a time limit of like 10-20 seconds or something like this, ridiculous. And they just, like you said, they look at the vegetation, they usually look at road signage, and they look at like very quickly just at little things like, you know, architecture or the landscape, or, you know, wherever they may be. There's just little things that they target out straight away, and it's seriously impressive. But you're right, you're completely right, that each kind of state and area kind of does have its own vegetation and feel and look, and that must be quite challenging, but also a good challenge in a way to represent in Nebraska and other states when you're working around them, to give them their own look and feel.
By the way, we are approaching to Nebraska right now.
Here we go. Watch out for it, chat. Here we go. Here's the transition. We're back. Yeah, we are. We're back. Look at that. That's a nice transition.
Yeah, that was smooth. I wouldn't even notice
that. Was very smooth. Very smooth. I give that a 10 out of 10. What do you think, chat? That was probably one of the best transitions I've seen. There we go. Back in the big red country. Exactly. Exactly. We've got 10s in the chat. I like it. 11 out of 10. Oh, wow. It's great. That was solid. Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Again, it's just little things like that that goes to show how much attention to detail has been paid by yourself and your team as well, which is so very impressive, especially if you have some newer people on your team as well. I also have a little note here about another subject, that you also worked closely with the vehicle department as well. You had like a couple of requests for some cargoes. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, I would repeat myself about the specialist, but yeah, I might say something. We have like heavy cargoes, like farm machinery heavy cargoes, and one of the most amazing cargo is the subway. What is called train station, subway. We have utility vehicle factory in Lincoln, and they actually built this subway trains, for example, for New York.
Oh wow!
And people might actually haul these trains.
Awesome. Yeah,
and,
we did.
And they are shiny, they are beautiful. You can see through them. It's amazing. Great job for the vehicle team.
Absolutely, yeah. One to definitely look out for. It's one that we actually featured in the release blog as a little bit of a tease there as well, which is quite cool, because like you wouldn't expect those rail cars or those subway cars to come all the way from Nebraska. You know, I thought maybe it would have been made locally.
Exactly,
and that's
right?
quite the journey for a train to make. And I'm not sure who found out that information, if it was Anton again or somebody else. But
Yeah, Anton, of course.
Who else? No.
on the other hand, we stopped at one truck stop, and we saw this station, saw this train on our eyes, and we filmed around this. So we have footage. Anton just came with idea, and we have footage.
Wow, that's incredibly lucky. I mean, I'm guessing it wasn't planned that you would kind of meet that train out
Just
of the
a great
truck stop.
timing again.
You saw it there, really? And they were just parked up in the truck stop, or?
Yeah, it was parked there, like behind some other trailers, but it was quite amazing.
That's
experience.
Really cool. Yeah, no, again, one that I did not expect to see from Nebraska, but yeah, quite the journey that it has to make from here to the East Coast, just so then it can continue transporting more people on the rails, which is seriously impressive. And Anton also mentioned to us about the railroads and more in Nebraska, which is a lot of.
Yeah. On the other hand, Nebraska has quite impressive history for trains. so it makes sense. For example, they have the biggest or largest train yard, the Bailey Yard in the world.
They do indeed.
So it makes sense.
It does, yeah.
It's
and
actually pretty close from here, right?
Right.
is it actually?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
up at...
Maybe we can
Oh, we-
go take a look there.
Again,
Maybe we
the
can.
timing.
Honestly, he is on it today. I mean, if you want to head up there, we can very quickly have a little bit of look, because yeah, it does have a lot of history when it comes to the railroad and the trains. And I couldn't remember the actual factor, because I do remember writing about it, but that there's actually a lot of railroads that have been included in this map, right?
Oh, sorry, I just read
You're lost.
something from the chat. Can you repeat me the question?
Yeah, sorry. I was just talking about how Nebraska, I believe I wrote about it in the blog, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe you do.
Yeah.
About actually Nebraska having a lot of railroad routes that, players will see, passing underneath them and alongside of them. And it's, I think, one of the maps with kind of the most railway kind of routes included.
Yeah, Anton would know anything about the history. So, for example, I know there was the Oregon Trail, which was from, I believe, from Missouri to Oregon, one of the most famous, like a path in the history. By the way, we have some landmarks, some areas there. For example, the cave.
Okay.
But yeah, the train you can see almost everywhere. The train, the railroads, the some other parts. So it's impressive.
I was half expecting to suddenly see a train cross this intersection on the road, just because of how good the timing has been with driving it, but it hasn't happened yet. So maybe it's not that it seems. But yeah, I think that's one thing that stood out that a lot of people weren't expecting to see in the trailer, was that little snippet from the trail there, and some of the kind of interesting routes that you may be able to find. But you got to explore that in yourself. You got to find that for yourself, chat. I know a lot of you are excited to kind of get going and looking around the map for yourself, which well, not too long now. Time has flown with us. We're almost another hour up, which means just over an hour until the release of Nebraska. It's really, really quickly approaching us in terms of timing. And I know a lot of you are excited. So let's see some excitement in the chat. Who's excited for Nebraska? Let's just see maybe some ratings on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not so excited to 10 being overly hyped. Let's see how excited everybody is. YouTube, Twitch, I'm looking at you. I'm seeing straight 10s in the chat. I'm seeing an 11s. I'm seeing a 42 out of 10. I mean, that's excitement right there. We've got a billion. We got a lot of people excited for the Nebraska, which is always very, very exciting to see. And I'm sure, again, Simon, you must still feel pretty nervous still, but also a little bit of excitement yourself.
I do. I still do. I have a lot of expectations. So, yeah.
It's understandable. It really, really is. And here again, we're seeing this wonderful new kind of dynamic loading and unloading feature that's in Nebraska. And as we fill up the hoppers here in our ownable grain hopper trailer, looking very nice. The animation looking very cool. Love that you have to kind of move forward and complete the progress of the loading as well, but very smooth overall. Look at that. Very excited for that.
That's probably one of the coolest things.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like that might be like my exclusive job when I'm kind of running through Nebraska, just kind of hauling different grains and crops and more, for sure. So I have to ask, this might be a bit of a difficult question, Simon. Say if somebody only had one place to go in Nebraska and American Truck Simulator, where is the first place you'd tell them to go? Like, you should go see this first.
This
is
type
the
of
thing I would say.
questions.
Yeah, I know it's hard. I'm sorry. I'm guilty. I know. It's you probably love everything equally, but
Yeah, it's like when you have kids, like 5 kids. Which one do you love the most? So
yeah, I know.
but yeah, if you like the hills, you need to visit the sand hills. If you like to see some landmarks, visit the car henge, the archway. And if you would like to see something amazing, you can visit Skogsbluff for some reason. Also, we have beautiful cities, etc.
Yeah.
It's I love every part of Nebraska. We did it, so every part is amazing. Yeah.
And Lincoln and Omaha, I don't remember which one. Is it in one of them you can actually drive pretty downtown as well, like actually pretty close to downtown? I think it was in Lincoln, was it?
Yes, Lincoln.
It was, yeah. So I haven't got to check that out myself yet, but I heard there's some pretty cool landmarks down there that you can drive pretty close into the kind of center of the city.
They are. By the way, we wasn't sure if we managed to get this road through the almost downtown, but we said to ourselves that we just need to, because it looks amazing. There are, like you said, great landmarks, like those silos with graffiti or painting, structures, buildings. Yeah.
And you have this stadium there, I believe, as well, right?
Of course, the stadium.
Yeah. I think is it US 6? Is it the road that travels
Yes.
through there? I believe it is US 6.
Can remember right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying my best. We always go through a lot of subjects, and I'm sure yourself, as quickly as the kind of work on Nebraska comes to an end, I'm sure you're already working on lots of other things at the moment as well to come in the future. So, that was close, Peter. That was
Plenty of
that was
space.
a very abrupt stop. A very, very abrupt stop. So, but yeah, I think that's something that impresses me the most, is those two cities like Lincoln and Omaha, which with their impressive skylines and how built up they are. Compared to kind of like the rest of the state, it feels quite vast and just smaller towns and stuff like that. And then you get to those kind of main cities, and it's really like almost like you're on the West Coast or the East Coast a little bit. You're kind of like in a more really built up area. And I think you and the team did a great job of really representing that, the feel of it and everything. And I'm sure anyone who's in the chat that's from Nebraska, I know there's a few of you in here, you got to make yourselves known, could probably vouch and say, yeah, they look pretty spot on. If there is anybody watching from Nebraska, do let us know. We'd love to hear your feedback and see what you think. But from when we had a few last time and we were driving on the Let's Play, me and Peter asked, like, hey, anyone from Nebraska watching, and what do you think? They were all giving nothing but positive feedback. So hopefully that brings a little bit of calm to your nerves a little bit. I don't know if it does or not, but hopefully,
By the way,
fingers crossed.
I'm glad that people actually like this DLC. It calls me down, and it feels great.
Yeah, no, thank you. We really appreciate your time and showing us and telling us more about behind the scenes of how it came to be, and the work that you and your team have put together to create this DLC. And we appreciate all of your time and work as well. And but we've only got a couple of minutes left, so one more thing that I needed to ask about before you disappear.
Okay.
I see the desk has got a bit of decoration on it now. You've got the I believe the Nebraska state flag here in front of you, and you've also got a Nebraska hat on the desk, right?
It is, and it is signed by almost every person who made this DLC. So, yeah.
That is fantastic, and you can see it there, looking all beautiful. And that was hung kind of in front of your area for quite a while you're working, since like the beginning, or?
Sorry, one more time.
Yeah, the flag, was it like hung up, like displayed in like your office area?
Yeah, it was in our office, in our station, and it was for a year there. And we have this flag from the Nebraska.
Awesome. That is really, really awesome. And I'm not sure if I remember correctly, there might be a chance that possibly somebody might be able to kind of have this flag or see this flag. Is that something I've heard?
Perhaps I heard something about this.
like in streams past, we've always been so, I don't know, grateful to the teams who have kind of given their flags to be able to be passed on to a member of our community to have for themselves, and that will be part of our giveaway a little bit later on, which I know is a very special thing to you, so we really do appreciate you signing it and having everyone kind of have it there, and then we're going to have the opportunity to pass that on to one of our members of our community. So definitely stick around if you'd like a chance to win the flag that has been hanging in the offices during the development for Nebraska, which is signed by a majority of the team there. Then do definitely stick around. But again, massive shout out to all of the guys and girls and everybody involved in the development of Nebraska. We really appreciate it, and we're very much looking forward to the release in just an hour's time. Time has flown, but unfortunately, it's time that we have to let you go because we want you to enjoy your evening as well, Simon. And we really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you for taking the time out to be on the stream, and we hope you enjoyed yourself as well. And I'm sure this isn't the last time we'll see you on stream as well. I'm sure we'll have you back in the future as well.
Of course. Next year.
Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the community before we break?
Thank you, Chad, for your kind words. I hope you will enjoy this DLC, and if you will, you can just type some comments. What should we continue with? And I heard this thing: when someone don't like a game on Steam, and you can confirm or deny, the right thing is thumbs up the game and tell what should we make better. Is that right? Is this the common thing?
Leave the feedback, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so make sure you leave your feedback. If you really enjoy the DLC or not so much, make sure you leave a review for us, but positive reviews if you're really, really enjoying it, or leave some positive feedback is what we can call it, right? Some positive feedback. Make sure you do that on Steam. But anyway, we do need to let you go now. We got our next guest waiting, I'm sure, just behind the scenes. So again, Simon, thank you so much. Chat, we're going to see you again in just 5 minutes time. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back with our third special guest of the evening, and of course on the countdown to the release of Nebraska. So we'll see you again soon in just 5 minutes.
Bye.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining
Hello.
us, it's great to see you. You're joining us for the Nebraska DLC release for American Truck Simulator. It's great to have you along. My name is Alex. I'm your community manager here at SCS Software. Joining us live from the studios in Prague, we have our driver of the evening, Peter, our other community manager. Great to have you along, Peter.
Hi.
We're also joined by two other special guests. First of all, the one without the name tag, we have Nemiro, who's joining us. There he is. Hey, PR marketing manager. Here he is.
Hey,
Great to have you
everyone.
along, Nemiro. How you been?
Yeah, thanks. I'm medium, let's say.
Medium rare.
I'm medium rare. I just to be kind of transparent, I just needed to end up our business trip in the US a little bit earlier because of some unspecified health issues, but I still wanted to participate, at least, with the release of Nebraska. So here I am. It may happen that I might emergency disappear for a few moments and appear again, and we will see. But yeah, other than that, I'm excited to see the Nebraska being released.
Absolutely, and great to have you here, and also recoveries as well. I hope you feel a little bit better soon, but great to have you along. Thanks for joining us tonight. And of course, we also have our CEO of SCS Software, Pavel Shabor. Pavel, it's great to have you back in the studio.
Thank you.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm great. Thank you. Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here again. And sorry to hear your story, Nemir. I know about it, of course, but
Yeah,
better choice of food next time.
yeah, it happens sometimes, I guess.
Absolutely, and of course it's very exciting indeed, because this is our first release stream from the brand new studio in our newer offices, which we have recently moved into. And how does that feel, Pavel? It must feel pretty kind of a bit surreal to be moved in, and I know it's been quite a busy time for you and the team.
Yeah, well, it's been incredibly busy time over the past 2 years. Not necessarily for me. I mean, I had to split my attention to it as well, but there was a core team that managed and handled all that. And we are kind of in a closed beta on our own in our new office, because a lot of stuff is kind of almost working, but not quite yet. Or on the surface it looks very nice, but in practice you bump into issues, and we have so much still to work out, to iron out, to make it really our new home where we are all comfortable. But things look promising and hopeful. It's just like still more work to do. And of course the impressions are great. Like, I mean, your streaming studio is like quadruple the size of the previous one, so
Yeah.
a cozy place so that where you're not so cramped anymore.
You have to visit
So-
us, Alex. You have to see this.
Yeah.
I do. I will definitely, once the dust has settled a little bit and everything's kind of working, everything. I'll definitely have to visit at some point and see the studio and everything else. So
Once
will
we
definitely-
settle in a bit more into the new place, into our new home, I'm sure we will want to share with our fans and community what kind of home we've built for ourselves. But really, even though it's kind of almost up to where we want it to be, a lot of decorations, a lot of stuff are still missing. So give us a few more weeks or perhaps even months, and then we'll show more.
Sounds good. I'm lots of people quite excited to see more. We've kind of shared a little bit of our social media, but some pictures here and there of us moving from our old location to our new location, and I'm sure it's been quite a big process leading up to this point. So a big congratulations. First off, I guess is all in order for getting kind of majority of the stuff moved in, and everybody moved over during quite a busy time as well. And I have to ask, what was kind of like the vision behind moving? Was it because of the growth of the company, or where did it all kind of begin when you started looking for a new office?
When we moved to our previous office, CS was like 70 people, 80 people, and we thought, okay, this is it. Like, we may be up to 100, but that would be totally unmanageable and like too much. But before I knew it, we had broken the 100 point, and we had to extend our lease by the rest of the floor. Then 2 or 3 years later, we needed more space, so we started expanding all over the building. In the end, we ended up with 2 separate floors. They were above each other, but you only could connect it by like this fire drill kind of stairwell, or take an elevator. So the studio is split in half. It doesn't work as organic and as nice as you want. So when this new opportunity came our way like 2.5 years ago, we thought, maybe let's give it a thought. And we were like we got on the bull and it was a ride and we couldn't get off of it. So here we are 2 years later. The idea is that we may be able to. We got over 300 people meanwhile. So we needed space for that, and we needed a little breathing room for more. So maybe we can put 400 people here, 450, quite easily. We have the space now. Also, the idea is that there is so much spare room now that we can build like ad hoc teams, like feature teams that will bring together people across departments to the same shared space, and they may spend a few days a week just like working on that one feature while being very much iterative in the process or agile in the process. So hopefully some of the things that took a lot of like friction or was very noisy process across departments where you have to go through some messaging systems and all that, we may now form more agile teams that will be somewhat more productive on evolution of game features. That's one big hope. And also we felt that, you know, we on the job market, we need to be an employer that can show some checkboxes to people thinking of jobs, or people who we want to keep should also see that they are taken care of. So we came up with some interesting like bells and whistles for the new office to be kind of competitive on the job market. So that was all the idea. And in the end, it's like over 2 years of really hard work for some of the people in the company. And well, frankly, it's also anytime you put your effort into something, it's at the expense of something else. So in a way, maybe the team here may have felt less of like focus or time for the games themselves, for the teams, while we were working on offices, which is just like that material, some glass and concrete. But now that we are over this, I hope that we'll be, even the management will be fully focused on the games themselves.
Fantastic. It sounds great, and we look forward to kind of seeing more of how the office grows and, you know, fits into its new location. And how is it in the office today, may I ask? Is it quite a good atmosphere? Is everybody kind of enjoying themselves? I'm sure they're all watching somewhere in the office right now.
Jacob in the production room has even a few photos from what's going
really?
on right now in this 7th floor, like 2 floors above us. I believe there's a small release party happening to celebrate the release of Nebraska. We got
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I have not seen
getting
these. This is
their
great.
piece of tasty food, I guess.
Yeah,
Jacob is trying to do some effects.
Okay. Finding the right spot on the screen.
Trying to fit you into the screen. Wow, I love the design of that kind of kitchen area there, and kind of serving stuff. That's fantastic. Well, big shout out to everybody who's there and maybe watching. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves and been enjoying the stream as well in your new space. Look very comfy, those chairs as well, looking very good. Lots of space, lots of Kool-Aid. We've got traditional American drinks there as well. Look at that. Going all out on this one. Nebraska themed.
Kool-Aid is actually
I
from
like it.
Nebraska.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. That's why we have it here, because it's like one of their unique things.
And it's like the powder that you're supposed to like put into water, right? And then you have like a
and some sugar and stuff like that. Yeah, and quickly looking it up.
I need to try it once I get back to the party.
Hopefully some packages will be still left.
Yeah, Nebraska is the birthplace of Kool-Aid. There you go. Learned something new today. I wasn't even aware of that. But looks like everyone's having a fantastic time there, and hopefully you'll all enjoy the release as well in a very short time, because time is running away quickly with us. But I did want to get back to Nebraska because of time as well, of course. It's incredible that we're back here for another release of a DLC. Seems like, you know, the production efforts are ramping up, and we're getting places faster as well. And it's the 14th state of the USA to come to American Truck Simulator, which is really incredible. And we've already got 2 more already revealed and in development as well, and also 1 extra which is still under wraps. I've heard, you know, we've been given a little few teasers here and there as well. And how do you feel about the production process so far and the development process for American Truck Simulator?
Well, it seems to be running much smoother than a few years ago. At the same time, you say state number 14 from our production. At this pace, it will take a lot of time. So ideally, we still need to pick up the pace for people to have a chance to see the other side of the continent in any like reasonable time frame. We'll try. We'll see what I can do about it. It's running well. I mean, we have revealed 2 more then, but I've been in a meeting today where pre-production and research is going on like 4 states ahead of the current release. So the kind of the pipeline, the process, the stages that overlap for production and pre-production is quite a kind of long pipeline where you put in the different efforts, different teams, different slots are filled in by the various research and pre-production stages. So we take it very seriously, and I would say the team takes it super professionally. I really like enjoy when the meeting like is going and everybody knows what needs to be done, how it's done, how to plan for it. So in that sense, we got from like making it like a hobby in a way to be very organized and very professional about it. Of course, we still need to work on the tools to be yet more productive. We now look into something, maybe using some AI assistance to do it. It's like very early stage, but we need to do our best not to just add more content, but to make the content smarter, to make the content better, and make the game better and then better looking. But that's all like it's a never-ending story. Of course, we there's always more to do, and that's it's a good thing that we have more to do. It's a good thing that you are not kind of dead and irrelevant. So yeah, we'll keep on pushing.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I love that comment about how you're saying, it's changed a lot since kind of a few years ago. It feels a lot more streamlined, the process of, of getting more done, and kind of know the system now, and we're always kind of working ahead of ourselves. And I'm sure you can kind of reminisce a bit back into the times when American Truck Simulator was being first worked on. I imagine that the process and the creation of map DLCs has changed a lot since then. With the production flow and all the kind of new roles that we have, and even the size of the teams, right?
That was like, what, 40 people when you guys were developing?
Well, when ATS was
time?
launched 2016, I think, in the office, and 2 offices back. And there was like 40, 50 people total in the company, but American Truck was like the younger sibling that was still kind of explorational stage project. So I think the total size of that team that launched the game may have been around 10 people, maybe 12.
Okay.
Now, Nebraska was made by 10, 12 map designers on top of about the same number of people doing the art, doing the buildings, the models.
Yeah,
we have people in vegetation, we have people in research. The company has 25 testers, something like that. Sorry guys that I don't remember the number exactly.
But vehicle department, right, doing AIs.
Really, the team is over 300, and it's split pretty much equally in half when it comes to supporting each of our flagship games. So you can easily say that 150 people plus now contribute like every day to American Truck across the various DLCs, across the vehicles, across all the features. So that's a whole different animal than those 10 years ago.
But at the same time, we are like having 4 DLCs in production usually, right? Like simultaneously. So it's a different thing that we could not imagine back then. And we had to learn everything on the go, that we were not prepared for that, and we are still like humble and learning every day about what we may improve. So I guess 2 or 3 years from now we'll be a very different studio again in some sense, but hopefully the one constant that we managed to keep around is that these games are still relevant, still improving, and still being played by passionate fans of our truck sims. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I imagine, talking about how it's changed so much, I imagine a lot of the roles have changed as well, including maybe how involved you are in terms of, keeping an eye on the map, process in terms of the development. I imagine you're quite involved originally, but maybe you have to really kind of spread out where you are at what times and your priorities, right?
Well, I'm like everywhere and nowhere essentially because we stretched so thin. So yeah, I fortunately, just like with the team here, I can rely on on a lot of like professional work on my esteemed colleagues that I no longer have to kind of worry or be troubled by many of the everyday processes. So it's more about strategic things, more about controversial things potentially that we should rather discuss than before they are even like implemented and then potentially rolled back. So it's it's a very different world for me than like over the 25 plus years of SCS. I've been sitting on many chairs, but this time I'm more like a strategic advisor in a way than being really a planner or a viewer or anything else.
Interesting. Yeah, I imagine it's been quite the journey from the time of early beginnings to now, and you know how much it has changed in terms of the size and the growth and what you're doing as well.
Do you like
along with your team?
Do you like sometimes miss the old days, like when there were only 20, 40, 50, whatever
yeah, well,
people?
20 plus years ago, I was programming in assembly language, like the engine, like internals, and I still miss those days because programming it's more than a work. It's like solving like magical puzzles, or how to put it. It's very engaging, like mental like thing, and I loved it, and I still kind of remember those days fondly, even though I lost all skills in programming because I haven't practiced it for years. And then I of course, you know, you look back and you look and you think of the good things. You are nostalgic. In practice, we were overworked, we were overwhelmed, we were in so much trouble not knowing it. So I really prefer these times when we are not so like overstressed, not so overworked, not so like scared by not having the company in half a year from now if something goes wrong, because we were never sure of our like revenue stream or anything like that. Now that we are comfortably self-publishing, self-distributing, we have fortunately a really supportive and loyal fan base. Things are reasonably stable for us to dare to do things that we wouldn't ever dare before. Having some long-term things on the table that may pan out in a year or 2 or 3, but eventually with enough nurturing, these features should hopefully come and work for us. So it's a different perspective, and I like the new SCS as of today much more than 10-20 years ago.
Interesting. It's always so interesting to kind of hear and to look back on those times and how far it's come. And of course, it wouldn't have gone anywhere without all the hard work of, you know, many of the team and the members that have joined us throughout the years up until this point, even today, when
Absolutely.
we have so many members of SCS Software as a company that all contribute to make these products, possible, and creating the new DLCs. And that's something we can especially see here in Nebraska. Me and Peter have been talking about it on the stream before, and today as well. You can see so many great details, and you know, just the bar is always raised each time we come back to these DLCs where we release them. It seems like they've raised the bar again. In terms of quality and production, and it's fantastic to see. But of course, that hasn't gone without a lot of hard work. We've of course just recently had the 1.50, quite a big milestone of an update come out for American Truck Simulator.
Just like yesterday and the day before, right?
Yeah, literally just a couple of days ago. I imagine it was quite the challenge to kind of get all the stars aligned for them to come out and have Nebraska come out just very closely afterwards.
Yeah, it was. Let's face it, it really was, and probably still is for some users out there, a rocky release, because it includes a lot of changes under the hood. And honestly, some of the changes still need like extra optimization step or extra improvements. But you know, that's the reality. We will never be, I guess, finished with and stable with our technology. 2 updates later, we'll be changing some subsystem again. So these things are always a stabilization phase following a wild revolutionary sometimes change in the code base, in the data. This time the update is much bigger because it was in many gigabytes in size, because all the textures, all the stuff was reprocessed for better precision. So basically nothing stayed the same between 1.49 and 1.50 in data. So that's a big ask for people to download so much in one single update. But hopefully from now on, these art assets will be a little more stable again through the few following updates. But really it was a big chunk of data to process. On the programming side, the internals of the engine changed a lot. We have little features like the updated TAA, the was it time-based anti-aliasing, or what's the proper term for that? Which are maybe for some people improving the visual like feel of with less flickering in the world. So there are things that are nice to have. There are things that were quite critical for us to be able to move forward and give our audience a fresh new bit of content. We are living in this world where we need to entertain the masses. We need to come up every couple of months and do something to bring back the player base, to remind them of ourselves, of our game, not just by releasing new DLC or something, but just by bringing features, updating the old world, like we did this time with California, which is like a fantastic piece of new reworked content. So all that, you need to align all the planets to some date on the calendar and hope and pray that things will work. So in the end, I think we pulled it off mostly. It's stable. The performance for now is mostly about the same. On some computers we hear it's better. On older computers it may be 5%, 10% worse in some scenarios, but that's hopefully just temporary, because a lot of the optimization work is still we know what we need to do, but it's still ahead of us, and the programmers tell me 1 or 2 more months would suffice, but we already had to get something out. And what people see now in the engine was originally planned for like the summer of last year, not this year. So we honestly sometimes things take longer to implement or to come up with than we may hope for, plan, that we may anticipate. But things do come together. The pieces of the puzzle fall together eventually. So I think we may be very proud of this release, that it's holding, it's steady, it's solid, and we just need to ask our players for a little bit more patience when it comes to improved performance, which we hope is coming, and also when it comes to compatibility issues. I hope they are talking to our support to get suggestions on what to fix, what to test, and maybe what to report, so that we can look into any outstanding bugs that may be still out there to get this up and running. We have been through quite an extensive beta, but still we may have not been exposed to some configurations, some hardware situations. Also this time we may be reliant more on new features, so maybe people need to be more observative, more like pay more attention to their drivers, because we've run into people who have not updated their NVIDIA drivers for 8 years and still hope that things are going to work for more modern architectures. So a lot of things, a lot of elements that need to work, but hopefully with this initial release it's going to settle down. We'll be doing a hotfix in a few days or weeks, and then we'll be providing a major update, of course, again tentatively end of summer, with yet more improvements in optimizations, and performance should be the focus really there. But of course there are other elements than the engine. There is a lot of work has been put into the UI, into the UI X experience. I'm very proud of our currently scalable technology when it comes to the clarity of fonts, of the outlines of all the elements. They work all the way up to 4K from what was 10,000 by 700 or whatever pixel size was of the old screens when I was much younger. A lot of screens pretty much all the screens got so much love put into them to make them work better with controllers. Like people playing on Steam Deck will benefit a lot. People playing with controllers will benefit a lot. So a lot of programmers' time as well as artists' time went into these changes. Again, it's a question of how it's going to be accepted. We hear the response so far has been a little bit mixed, but just judging from our own internal experience, you get adjusted to it over a day or two, and then you never want to go back, because it's so much easier on the eyes. It's so much often so much easier on the use cases that it kind of makes sense. It made sense for us to do the change finally and get rid of some like thinking, designing ideas that we were considering correct 10 years ago, but they have like a world has changed, and we now felt it's time to change things for hopefully for the better.
There's actually a lot of people in the chat like praising the new AI, that it's smoother, refreshing, that they love it. Of course, I guess with changes like this, there will always be like two camps, right? People that will not like the previous one and people that will enjoy the newest one. But so far, I would say that more of the feedback is positive.
Well, it's always a risk when you try to change something in a game that has been stable for so many years. But really, this is not the first UI in the game. We had in the first few releases, especially the desktop screen, as we call it, the central hub screen where you always go to when you press escape, was looking very much different. There was like individual icons on like a live desktop. If you had like the paradigm was like you have a laptop with icons for applications, and individual icons would be sitting on this screen, and you would just click them like on your Windows or Mac. But then we had run into issues with that idea, so we introduced the widgets concept, the rectangles that would group icons by function, but we ran out of space there as well. So this new approach is actually opening up opportunities to add features easier, to have them better organized, and to get rid of some of the like color pixel clutter that we had before that was like not so easy to identify things visually. You always had to rely in the end on either muscle memory for older players, but for new players on kind of reading tiny text and trying to understand complex, colorful icons where the color coding kind of lost any meaning over time. So anyway, it's an attempt for a cleanup. It's an attempt for more light but sharper view of the UI elements. So hopefully people will be able to adjust and appreciate the effort.
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, I've seen like Nemo said, a lot of positive feedback, but also it seems like you've really kind of set things up for the future as well, kind of really kind of setting like a base foundation for things moving forward in terms of what the future holds for both American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator 2 as well, which is exciting what the future does hold. I'm sure we could probably talk a long time about what the future holds. Is there kind of any little hints out there for what might be on the horizon?
No, you're asking for too much.
Teasers and hints.
The trouble is I hate over-promising and under-delivering. Sometimes it happens. And I've been, through a couple of my visits here to the stream, I've been always like promising the nice things in the engine are on the horizon. And then you come back to the programmer's corner and you realize, maybe we need one more month, which turns into 3. But what can I say? There are some nice little elements in the graphics department. We just licensed a new piece of technology and library for having better vegetation and trees.
Oh, nice.
So all these things should be eventually rolling into the game to improve the visual. At the same time, you always have to be very careful about not raising the performance requirements. If every tree is double the detail or triple the detail of the previous tree, before you know it, the game frame rate goes down a lot. So we have to be super careful about how we change things over time. But yeah, there are new vehicles on the horizon. There are a
lot of them actually.
Nemiro had to return back from a major trip to the US, but the rest of the team is traveling to visiting partners. Oscar will be visiting the licensing expo to talk to various partners. So a lot of stuff is happening on the vehicle side, which is like the core element of a vehicle simulation game. So we are not like slowing down. We are definitely picking up the pace.
Speeding up.
Changing gears is what I'd say, probably into the high gears. I like it. We'll leave it at that then,
but that of course works for both of our games, not only for American Truck Simulator,
of course.
but for ETS2 as well.
Absolutely. Well, getting back to the main subject of the hour, because time is flying with us. Only about 20 minutes now until
someone in the chat asked if actually our driver breathes. Are you still breathing?
Yeah,
He's okay, Peter?
He's
He's concentrating.
He's just vibing there. He's just driving.
He's just
I'm
vibing.
enjoying
He's
the game,
enjoying
the new DLC, you know.
I was going to say, how are you finding it, Peter? I mean, you're driving through a beautiful town right now. Are you enjoying the drive
It's
so far?
awesome. This is the Grand Island, and I will be taking a delivery to Columbus, where we haven't been yet. So I'm excited to see that city as well.
Very
You know, as the
exciting.
company
you appreciate
CEO, as the
driving.
former programmer, I'm so much relieved that the game hasn't crashed yet.
That would
That's
be
the biggest worry always. Is it stable? Is it solid? Is it working?
It's always a good thing. It's always a good thing. But yeah, honestly, it's been so impressive to chat to some of the members behind the development and the research. We had Anton earlier. We had Simon as well, the DLC lead with us, and we're talking with them. And I got to say, I'm not sure if the community will agree with me as well. Maybe some of them will. How it kind of completely flipped my perspective on Nebraska, because there's so much in Nebraska that is just really amazing. And previously, before learning more about Nebraska, when I was writing the blogs and such like that, I always thought Nebraska was just kind of cattle and fields, and that's about it. But really, they've done such a fantastic job at squeezing so much into Nebraska as possible, the details and little things that they've learned on their research trips, and really pushing the limits of the engine as well. We're talking about the further viewing distances and really giving the feel of far distances and the rolling sand hills and such. And it's really, really impressive to see. I imagine you're always quite surprised at what the map teams and everyone else involved can come up with when they're creating these new DLCs, Pavel.
Yeah, it's always a surprise because I've known this engine for 25 years, and they are indeed pushing it to the limits in the good sense as well as from the programmer's point of view, in like more I'll say complicated sense, because once the programmers find out how the artists sometimes push and abuse the engine, and that they have to come back and fix some issues that are almost working but not quite. It's always fun, but it's also stress that we have to challenge each other for improvements. But yeah, I love it. It's great. The team initially was very much concerned, as you said, the states in the Great Plains are kind of mostly the same when it comes to natural feel. But at the same time, the nature is fantastic. That one of our strong points is being able to drive through these cool locations, and for the players who play our game as experience Zen simulation of just slow-paced travel and exploration, it's they very much appreciate all kinds of architecture, all kinds of natural landmarks and feel. So we felt, okay, we have to keep on going. You start somewhere in the continent and you go on and add more elements to it gradually. So the Great Plains were there ahead of us. But fortunately, as we develop the product, as we research and plan and do the pre-production, the team comes back with okay, we can do this cool location. We have this nice idea, and it's not just generic stuff. It's always unique. It's always full of little details. It's great that the local patriots may say, okay, I recognize this. This is cool about our state. I didn't even know that about our state sometimes.
Yeah.
And for everybody else, this is making another, in the big scheme of things, having yet more elements of the world to drive through, have to have more connected space together. It's incremental value. How to put it? It's always more than the sum of its parts when you have so many more miles to cover, corner to corner or side to side in the world. So I'm not worried. I was a little worried. Nebraska, if I'm not mistaken, is where Penny from the Big Bang Theory is, and they were always making fun of her, all those people, all those elites from the west or east coasts are thinking maybe about these states some not so nice things. But in the end, you come here and you realize this is cool. This is so, maybe for us from a little Central European country, this is even the nature is more understandable and closer. All the agriculture and all that makes sense for us, rather than maybe some Grand Canyon kind of things which are very much exotic for us. So I'm very excited for what the team has managed to do, not just with Nebraska, but what we are doing across the Great Plains, what we are going to do next, how it fits into the overall like picture with getting across the continent. Great job for me.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Do not sleep on the Great Plains in terms of what surprises you can find around every corner, because Nebraska has just been surprises non-stop in terms of what's featured in the map, in terms of areas, historical areas, cities, the culture, nature. They've just done such a fantastic job.
Peter, what was that?
Yeah, I was
Flipping through it.
he's magic. That was some magic happening there. Oh my
Almost
goodness.
straight.
How could you not make that turn, man?
Just discovered the block in physics.
Just right straight. What's wrong?
Breaking physics. He's breaking physics. But yeah, I have confidence in the teams, definitely with the future of where American Truck Simulator is going in producing some fantastic states and really bringing to life everything that, that those states represent in terms of whether it be cattle and corn and or the great rolling hills of the plains. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot to look forward to in terms of American Truck Simulator with this area, which is all very, very exciting. And also as well, we did quite a few loads with it earlier. Peter showed us how it all works. I think we're gonna be doing one here with the new dynamic loading and unloading system in Nebraska, which is so cool.
Big news for coming with Nebraska, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's not only for Nebraska. It was not designed only for Nebraska, right? The idea was gonna to extend it in the future, but it's coming with this DLC, so it's kind of a nice thing to pack with the expansion.
And we're kind of probing that space. I think it's something like that is a long desired feature from our player community. It's we're trying it out. We would love to do more. Of course, there's so many different cargos and different loading and unloading methods that if we were to cover it all, and hopefully one day we will, it's going to be quite a distance to cover. But we thought, these kind of bulk materials are an opportunity for us to explore with the Great Plains and all the agriculture. They were easier to prototype than many other things. So that's where we are starting now, and hopefully people will enjoy this little element of adding a little bit of role playing to the driver's job side of things, to load and unload the cargo in this kind of visual way, rather than just the super simple model that we have in the game of always coming just to a loaded trailer and just connecting and moving on, which itself is a gross simplification of reality, of course, but that's how it worked in the early stages of our games. That made sense for us to simplify the gameplay. Now maybe time has come to gradually allow people or offer people more role playing in that regards.
Yeah, no, it really does look fantastic, and I know that the team behind it have worked really hard, and not only them, but also the map team and everyone else involved who's been creating a lot of the agriculture depots around Nebraska, because each one of them has been handcrafted, if I remember correctly, the ones that you can deliver to, and so they're all unique, which is also another huge kind of step up in terms of the map expansions here, having each kind of depot from the agriculture sector kind of unique and handcrafted, so they're all different, because let's face it, there's a lot of them in Nebraska, right? There's a lot of agriculture, and so
this is like a building block systems that the map team can work with and build what used to be our what we call depots, or like loading unloading places where like monoblocks pre-built in Maya or in some 3D package and reused repeatedly across many instances in the world. Here we go and give more freedom to the map designers to tailor pick from the combination of available building blocks and build the yards and all that individually for each farm. It's more fragile when it comes to having to support it long term, but the results are fantastic, and it's actually, I believe, only like stage 2 out of 4 of some like bold plans to keep on improving the farms and industries in general. So there's more to come, but even these like early stages are very much exciting.
Yeah, it is very exciting. I'm looking forward to the future of it. But speaking of map designers, I believe I've just got message or word from our production guy Jacob behind the scenes that we have actually the team ready to possibly join us in the studio.
We can see them all through some like
There is a
glass wall
glass
here
wall
to
between
the production
They're
room.
just there waiting. Sorry if we kept you waiting, everybody.
They're like watching their
so
watches.
Really, as we discussed the office, this office is cool, but still not totally finished, and some of the networking elements even don't work yet as we hoped for. So we couldn't do. We didn't want to risk doing the push of the red button in the middle of our kitchenette, which is like 2 floors above us. We rather said, let's bring the map team here to our streaming studio, which is like sizable enough, and have them the 15 minutes of fame in front of the camera here in the streaming studio. So shortly they'll be streaming in to press this button, which is already ready here.
We've just been raided, Alex, but in real life.
Yeah. It's going to be very much improvised and punk style and all.
So come on, guys, don't be shy.
Fun.
You just need to kind of like play Tetris here behind us a little bit.
I think I will.
Jacob will maybe switch the camera
away
from
the focus from the button to make room for the team.
Maybe I will pass my microphone back behind me so anyone can maybe say hi. If they want to,
loving the t-shirts, by the way. The t-shirts look absolutely fantastic.
They're still streaming in, still more people coming.
Yeah, so this is everybody here.
Okay, come in, guys.
Map team, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, we have also some representatives of some other teams, not just the map designers, but also others. So okay, I will go to the side because this is
there's like
this
five
is their
people.
moment now.
There's like 5 people this way that are not even visible.
Okay.
Guys, we need to pack it up more.
Squeeze it in. There we go. Use all of the space that studio has. Yeah, no, it's great to see kind of like
someone
together.
should sit. Simon, I guess it's gonna be Ossie, or choose someone who's gonna sit.
Oh, should I choose someone? I'm old.
There you go. Everybody in.
Oh, so all right, Simon, tell us who we have here.
Yeah.
Take a mic.
Okay. We have most of the mob designers, and we have the research department, we have production, and we have the SM department here. And did I forgot to someone mention? Oh yeah, the mob designers.
All right, and how's everybody excited to smash the button here? Will you even
yeah, there you go.
For the first try, it didn't sound kind of like you guys are excited. Like, yeah, let's do this. Okay.
Yeah, funny. I mean, only 8 minutes until the release of the Nebraska DLC. I'm sure everyone's a little bit nervous, but excited at the same time as well. But it's so great to kind of physically see quite the group of people together here in the studio. I'm sure it's been a lot of hard work up until this point, but the energy must be really good there, Nimur.
Yeah, it is. I believe like everyone's having a good time. Everyone have been having a good time up in the at the party upstairs.
Yeah. How's the party?
Shout out to everyone also in the kitchenette in the party. I'm sorry, probably a few like 3-4 people would still fit in the studio, but not more in front of the camera. So this studio is not really designed for 300 people. Pavel, maybe next time. next time, maybe. All right. I don't know, Pavel. Do you think we could skip the clock a bit and by 3-5 minutes rush the smashing the button?
Can you hand me the mic? I think I need it right in front of me, right? I think the agreement with the World of Trucks team is that they may be ready about 10 minutes before 7. So theoretically, we can accelerate everything and do it a little bit quicker. At the same time, I believe you have some clicking to do to launch the to update the elements like the bundle and all that. So it's all done. You're doing it meanwhile you're talking. Okay. So why not? We can accelerate the plan a bit and then do it.
Start with the video trailer.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we can show the video trailer.
Jacob, if you can hear me, maybe let's tease everyone watching with the Nebraska video trailer, and after that, I believe we'll be ready to smash that button.
Let's do it. Oh.
What a beautiful
All right.
trailer, and I'm just sad that you guys and girls in the chat were not able to see how people here were trying to squeeze closer to the button meanwhile, because that was legendary. So I believe Alex, and if you are ready, I believe we are ready here, guys. Try to put as many hands as possible under the red button, and let's count it down. Let's count it down from 10, and after that, let's release another amazing map expansion.
Let's do it. Hands on, hands on. Here we go, everybody.
So in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go!
Let's go!
There we go. Nebraska DLC has been pushed for release on Steam. Congratulations, everybody. Great work. It's now been released on Steam. We'll wait for confirmation from Nemiro here that it's all looking good as well.
Let me check. Yes, the Nebraska DLC for American Truck Simulator has been released, as well as the American Truck Simulator Sports Paint Jobs Pack DLC as well.
That's right. It is now available on Steam. Go and check it out. It's pinned at the top of your chats. We'll also spam it as well in your chats, just in case you can't see the link. Here you go. We'll spam it in there for everybody. So go check that out. Of course, you also have the Cruising Nebraska World of Trucks event happening as well. So make sure you take part in that as well. You can earn some in-game goodies and rewards for taking part in that as well. But guys, everyone, congratulations on such a fantastic release.
Yes.
We really appreciate all of your hard work. I'm sure it's a lot of energy just got released then, all that kind of stress and nervous energy. And everybody, make sure you send your positive reviews to us on Steam and on the forums and on Twitter, and share it with us on Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff as well. Send us all your positive thoughts and pictures and more. All of the team, I'm sure, would absolutely love to see it. Absolutely so much. But yeah, congratulations everyone there at the studio, at the SCS Software, Nimura and Pavel and everyone else. I'm sure you're all very happy as well with the release, and congratulations to you all.
Yep, absolutely. And don't forget to check also the Great Plains Calling bundle, because of course Nebraska belongs to Great Plains, and it just has been added to that bundle as well. So everyone, you can collect it through this bundle for, let's say, a very nice price as well.
Yes,
all right.
Indeed. And do we have maybe a couple words from either Simon or Pavel possibly that they would like to say? Anyone want to give some words?
Simon doesn't want to say anything.
No? You set it up during the stream.
The mic is so flexible. I'm out of words. It's been a long day already, and we have still some celebration ahead of us. Great thanks to the team, not just the people here, but really half the company, and pretty much all of the companies contributing in one way or another. It's a great effort, and the results are really much worth it. So thank you guys, and thanks everybody in 2 floors above us who is celebrating now and seeing it hopefully on the big screens there. We'll be back with more, definitely. The work continues, and on Monday a new DLC is waiting for you guys. So we'll be back, and thanks for supporting us.
Yeah, no, thank you, everybody. And what we'll let you do now, I guess, is let everybody kind of get back to the celebrations and have some food and drinks. And Pavel, I think we'll have to let you go as well, so you can celebrate with everybody.
I'm super hungry by now.
Well. Yeah, go get some food. Go get some food. Me and Peter, and we'll wrap things up here with the stream, as we got a couple more things to say. But I guess we'll let you guys go for the time being. I guess everyone can start making their. I don't know how we're going to do this. Really, it's a bit of awkward. We got something to cut to, maybe.
No, I believe Jacob can save us by playing also the video trailer for Sports Paint Job Spec for American Truck Simulator that has just been released with Nebraska 2. And we will be back after that.
Yes, we will.
doesn't want us to talk anymore.
Hello, mic check. 1, 2, 3.
Mic check.
Audio's left the chat. Hello.
Audio left the chat.
Hey everyone. Listen, just pretend like we just came back again, okay?
You can't read our lips or what? You really want us to tell us again everything?
All right, here we go. Let's pretend the transition. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Hey,
Wasn't that awesome?
what a
Lily?
beautiful
Whoa,
trailer,
wow.
right?
That
Two
was
amazing
great.
DLCs released at the same time. New state for American Truck Simulator. Amazing, beautiful lands of Nebraska, accompanied by a pack of fresh and beautiful paint jobs themed by some of the most popular sports in the US.
Yes, feeling that team spirit. We just had the map teams and many other teams with us there in the studio releasing the Nebraska DLC, and we got the team spirit with the sports paint job pack as well. So it's great to have both of those things releasing. So we look forward to seeing you trucking in Nebraska with the sports paint jobs pack. Make sure you share that with us on social media. But that's not the end of the stream just quite yet, because we still have a couple
They
of
say
things to
there's
take
no
care
game
of, don't
sound
we?
now. Jacob is having hard time there.
all right. Well, maybe chat's just trolling us now. Who knows? But we
Yeah,
still got a
who
couple
knows?
of things
Who
we need to
knows?
take care of
Chat,
before we
join us.
disappear.
Stop it.
Yeah. We've of course got a giveaway which we need to take care of. Of course, we said that we would love to do a giveaway with all of you. We not only have some Nebraska DLC keys to give away with the sports paint job pack keys as well, which is going to be like a little combo together. But if you look in front of Namiro and Peter there on the desk, you have the Nebraska state flag, which has been signed by a majority of the team involved with the Nebraska production and development, signed by them as well. And that is going to be going to one of you lucky folks in the chat. Now, some house rules really quickly, chat. If you've been here before, you know this, but for those that are new here, number
Should
one,
I
to take
somehow
part in this
try to
giveaway,
show it to the camera?
yeah, go ahead. Number one, make sure you have, you are taking part on Twitch. This giveaway is only going to be on Twitch.
Is it visible?
Unfortunately,
Because
YouTube.
Yes.
I'm not visible.
It is. Yeah, it is. Looking beautiful with all the signatures there. But yeah, if you want to take part in the giveaway, make sure you come on over to our Twitch,
here we go.
twitch.tv/SCS software, because we don't have the ability to contact you after you've won the giveaway on YouTube. So if you want to take part, you need to be on Twitch. Number two, make sure you have your Twitch whispers on. That's how we contact you on Twitch. So make sure you have those on. And number three, you do have to be comfortable if you win the flag. You do have to be okay with giving out some of your personal information. So your name, your shipping address, your phone number, your email, for logistical purposes to get the prize to you. But besides that, if you're a winner of one of the keys, we'll just send you the key directly via Twitch Whispers. So with that all said, let's get this giveaway running. Nimo or Peter, any ideas for a keyword? Because I saw some good suggestions in the chat earlier. Just Nebraska?
Yeah,
I had some people suggesting.
What more do you want?
Well, someone said
As
we should
the-
do either cattle or corn either, but I mean, we could do
Nebraska.
Nebraska. We're gonna do Nebraska then. Okay, let me. Before you start spamming chat, I'm just gonna let me set this up. It's not ready just yet. I'm gonna quickly get this typed in. So your keyword.
Are they spamming
is-
already? I can't see the chat right
They're
now.
already spamming.
They gone.
They're gone. Look, your keyword is
Chat has
Nebraska.
left the chat.
The competition. Oh, sorry. The giveaway is now open. So if you have typed it in the past 30 seconds, type it again. But only need to type it just once, chat. And this is a giveaway for. How many keys should we say, Nemo? 5 or 10 or? How many would you like to do? How good have chat been today?
Let's do 9 plus 1 for the flag.
Sounds good. So 9 of you are going to win the Nebraska DLC plus the sports paint jobs pack
Oh,
key
okay,
as well
so you
from
just
American
made it
Truck
like a
Simulator.
double. Nice.
Oh, I thought it was the combo. No, was it not?
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm
Oh.
all down for it. Yeah.
Okay,
Let-
that sounds
let's
good.
be
Yeah,
generous.
We'll do the combo. Okay, let's do that. So you're going to get both of those together, and then we'll have one special winner who will win that Nebraska state flag that's been in the office, hung outside the map team's office during the entire development of Nebraska, and has been signed by a majority of the team involved there. How does that sound, chat? If you want to take part again, head over to our Twitch right now, twitch.tv/SCS
Sounds good. Can
software.
I participate as well?
Make sure you have your whisper. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's
Okay.
see. I'll be interested to see if you win. Go for it. Type in the word Nebraska. Let's see. Why not? Why not? There we go. He's in. I like it. So we're going to give you a couple of minutes to do that. In the meantime, though, we have a couple of reminders. First of all, you mentioned it a little bit before about the bundle that we have on Steam, right?
Yes, sir. The Great Plains Calling Bundle, which now includes Nebraska DLC as well.
It does indeed. So it not only includes Nebraska, but also Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, and New Mexico. So it's worth looking at that bundle if you're trying to get some more together. I'm going to spam. Is it worth me spamming in the chat? I don't think it is. It's going too fast there.
Anything you will just paste it to the chat now, it's going to disappear in a second.
It's going to be gone.
Yeah.
It's going to be gone. But definitely check that out if you're looking to kind of complete the collection of some of those DLCs. They also come with a discount as well included. So definitely check that out. And I believe also people should check out Steam as well, right, for some possibly some other things on sale, right, Nimiro?
Oh yes, sir, because in cooperation with Steam to celebrate and welcome this new map expansion, I believe most of our products and also most of the UTS2 products are now entering a special discount period or sale that will last, I believe, for 14 something days all the way till the end of May. So guys, it's a great opportunity to, you know, add more of our DLCs into your collections during these days.
Absolutely, yeah, and I mean, now is also the perfect time to get your friends involved as well. If you've always wanted to go trucking with a friend, we just had a big update, the 1.50 update, looking fresh with the new UI. We got, you know, new little features here and there. Exactly, and also you can jump into the convoy mode with your friends, which is just perfect. You know, you can jump in and get trucking with your friends, no matter what kind of maps and stuff that they have together. You can get trucking together. So if you are looking to kind of get involved with some trucking with some friends, you know, maybe give them a little nudge and an urge to go check out the sales happening on Steam, because there's some pretty good discounts happening right now. So I definitely urge you to go check those out for sure. So big thank you to our friends over at Valve and Steam for organizing that with us as well. It's pretty cool for sure as well. And of course we have the Cruising Nebraska World of Trucks event as well, which is another excuse to get trucking, which is also live as well. You can check out the blog at blog.scsoft.com. We have it here on the stream. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. Yeah, we got the rules here. You know, you've got a community goal and a personal goal, and if you complete your personal goal, you can earn some unique in-game rewards, which all kind of themed around Nebraska. And then we also have the community reward as well. So once the community reaches a goal together, they will receive a hanging box turtle ornament. And I believe the personal one is a paint job, right? The Mighty Mammoth paint job, which is really cool. But not only that, but it's also a unique gift that you can earn in Nebraska as well. You might have spotted that on our blog if you want to check that out. If you take an external contract from a certain city, you get to earn this cute little mammoth plushie in your truck cab. So definitely head over to our blog to check out how to earn that. So definitely lots to check out, lots to see, and lots to do. So we really, really hope you do enjoy trucking in Nebraska. We'll give you probably let's say a minute or more.
Yeah, I mean, I just tried to reach to Jacob that the countdown, he set it for 10 minutes for giveaway. I was like, no, let's do a couple of minutes, and then we'll
do a couple of minutes. Yeah,
rapid raffle, and then we will leave
rapid
you guys
raffle. So get those entries in.
Nebraska.
One more minute. We're gonna give you one more minute, and then that's it. We've got to draw the winners, and then we're gonna let you get trucking. So Nebraska is your keyword. If you're not entered already, get that in right now. Get that in right now. Again, we're giving away keys for both the Nebraska DLC, the Sports Paint Jobs Pack DLC, and then one lucky winner will win that state flag that's been signed by a majority of the development team. Whew! What a day! What a day! It's been a lot of fun. It's been really, really a lot of fun.
You have to next DLC, Alex. You have to stream with us here from the studio.
Yeah, man. Just send a helicopter and
helicopter. Okay.
Or private jet. You know,
a normal plane is not enough. Okay.
Yeah, but it would be cool to have you here, right?
I would love to. Yeah, no.
See,
I would
Peter,
love to.
that was his first words into this stream today. He's all excited to get you.
No, he said things before. I promise. Me driving? No. All right, 20 more seconds, chat. 20 more seconds. Nebraska's your keyword, and that's it. We're closing it up. We're closing up here.
Chat's still spamming. How many eligible users do we have?
Oof, over 600.
More than 3.
Way more than 3. I'd say at least 4. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right, 10 seconds.
Right, 10
Get
seconds.
them in,
Let's
chat.
go.
Get them in.
Last chance.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 2.5, 1. I feel like I'm a parent telling my child off. 1, and the competition is giveaway is closed. That's it. No more entries. That's it. We're turning this car around.
Okay.
We're good. All right, let's get rolling this giveaways again. Please make sure you have your Twitch whispers on.
Yes.
If you win and you don't have them on, I have no other way of contacting you, and we may have to give that away to our best friend eBay. So please just make sure we wouldn't do that. We'll have to re-roll it to somebody else. So make sure you do that, or we'll end up giving it away on social media. All right, here we go. Good luck, everybody that's entered. The first 9 winners will win themselves the Nebraska DLC key and a sports paint job pack key. So here we go. The first of our winners are.
Let's go.
I don't have a drum roll.
Nice.
Rawlings 58. Congratulations.
They're gonna be hard on you with those nicknames again.
They are. They always choose the worst ones, don't they? The second one, Keela Rob. That's number 2. Our third winner is. Let's get some GGs in the chat as well.
Chat is
Lord
spamming
X
GGs.
Caden. I hope I'm pronouncing these correctly. Winner number 4, White Bear 633. Congrats.
White Bear 633. Congratulations.
Yep. Winner number 5 is It's Vaza __.
Nice.
Got to get that double underscore in. I like it. Winner number 6 is Pulled from My Stetson.
Pull for my stance.
Interesting. The best
Yeah,
name.
getting
Winner
these names from.
Winner number 7 is Power _Johnson Gaming. Yeah.
Congratulations.
What number are we on again now?
8.
8. All right. This is the final number 9 winner of
GG Agostino.
the final winner of the keys is. Oh my goodness. UPivot. EU Pivot.
Okay,
Yeah, pivot.
9th one.
Congratulations. That is our 9th. Is that our 9th one?
No, now it's gonna be 9th one.
Oh, now it's gonna be 9th. Okay,
Yeah.
this is gonna be our final 9th one.
Not
Number
final.
9 for the keys. Number 9 for the keys. Yeah, final one for the keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 number
Alright, final one for the keys.
9s. Number 9's large.
White Noise
36
Studio
with extra
86. There we go. And a large soda.
GG D'Agostino in the chat.
White Noise Studio 86. Okay, let's get to the final winner of the state flag of Nebraska, which has been signed by the team. Massive good luck to everyone that entered. Again, this person who wins this flag will need to provide their shipping details. And again, make sure you have your Twitch whisper on so I can contact you. Good luck, everybody. Here we go, rolling it now. And our winner is Gothrill. Gothrill? Is there a Gothrill in the chat?
What a nice and easy sounding name at the end, right?
Right.
No
Gothrill, you hear?
underscores, no numbers.
No,
just
nothing.
Gothrill.
No, nothing. There's Gothrill in the chat.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. They said yay, they're in here. Congrats, you won
Nice.
yourself the Nebraska state
Nice.
flag. I'll be in contact with you after the stream. Check your Twitch whispers. So
That's
and
good
to everybody
when-
else, I'll be in contact with you.
That's good when we are doing these giveaways at the end of the stream, because otherwise people will be just, writing the keyboard at the beginning, and then if they would get picked and we would try to contact them, they are like, wait, what? What giveaway?
Yeah, what do you mean? Good stuff. Well, that is it with the giveaways, and we're gonna have to bring this stream quickly to a close since time has
Yep.
run out. But wow, oof, What a day, Peter. I'm
What
going
a
to let
day.
you speak for a minute because it's been you've been quite quiet driving now. I hope you've had a good time driving through Nebraska.
Yeah, it was
How have you enjoyed
amazing. I didn't want to interrupt you too much, you know.
I told you earlier, just interrupt me. I know I speak too much, just interrupt me.
Yeah, but it was really nice driving through Nebraska. It's a fun DLC, and especially the new loading and unloading feature was amazing.
Yes.
We've tried it out a couple of times today, so yeah.
Absolutely. And Nimuro, it's a pleasure to have you here. I'm glad you are feeling well enough to join us, but we hope that you feel much better in the next couple of
Thank you.
days and
Thank
that you
you.
recover completely.
I'm
So
always happy to participate when I can.
yeah, but we missed having you in the studio. You know, it's been a busy time. So
Yeah, I need
Also
to
glad-
come more
glad you're
often.
back.
Mark is trying to take my throne, you know.
dang, you got to
And
fight
now
him for
I'm
it.
even
So.
streaming ATS.
Yeah,
so
now everyone's trying to.
there we go.
Oh, damn.
look out.
And we're gonna start like the pay-per-view wrestling now, so we can settle this one for who's the ATS champion. You know, we love it. We love it. All right, well, chat. We're gonna start to wrap things up here. We really hope you enjoyed your time with us. Thank you again for joining us this evening.
Yes.
It's been great speaking to so many members of the team from Nebraska. We had, of course, Anton from the research, and Simon and Pavel, and then we had
like
everybody join us.
15 people.
Yeah, loads of people. It's been a real pleasure. I wanted to give a big shout out as well to Jacob behind the scenes in our production booth, who's been working everything. Big shout out to him. Thank you for making everything run smoothly. Appreciate you. And yeah, of course, a big thank you to you, chat. We really hope that you enjoy Nebraska. We really do. Make sure to take part in all of the events. Get it downloaded. It's out now on Steam. And let us know how you enjoy it. Make sure to leave us some feedback and some positive reviews on our Steam if you really enjoy it. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, share your photos and your videos and more with us on our social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok. You can find all of them below in the description, whether you're on YouTube or on Twitch. But yeah, that is all we have time for. Anything else that would like to be said before we wrap things up here?
I believe we could try to raid someone.
Ooh, wow.
I'm
Yeah, I
trying
didn't think
to
about that.
pick someone, browsing to people that are actually streaming American Truck Simulator now.
And we
Anyone
also
doing
we also
Nebraska
have to thank Alex for hosting this
Oh
stream.
yeah, absolutely, Alex. You
Thank you. No, it's always a
smashed
pleasure.
it once again, man.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Let's see who's striking. We got
I
some-
believe we could raid Arrow's Realm. I believe that's a very familiar name, especially on our former Twitter profile. He's always active there, and he's actually streaming now.
He's streaming right now.
Yeah, he's streaming right
he
now.
is. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do
If
that.
you're happy to do that, let's do the raid. So the raid is now active on Twitch. Please come and join us over at Ours Realm, who's going to be streaming some Nebraska as well. Let's go give him a lot of love. Let's go give him a lot of love, a big hello, and happy Nebraska release day from SCS Software. But chat, thank
Absolutely.
you again. We appreciate you. And we hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening and your weekend. And I'm sure we'll see you again very soon again for more streams in the future, right?
Absolutely. I believe right on next week we plan to have 2 streams if everything's gonna go well. First gonna be on 21st, I believe, with Maggie about the Cruising Nebraska event, and then we are planning something more on Thursday, but that is not 100% sure as of now, so fingers crossed. It should be a nice surprise if everything's will work out as planned.
All right. We'll let you know. Make sure to follow us on social media. We'll let you know for sure. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy Nebraska, and we'll
Yes.
catch you all again soon. From all of us here at SCS Software, thank you, and have a good rest of your day. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.